Big Millie Beats.
Yeah, a lot of y'all think you know me, but what you don't know, you about to learn. Let's get this shit moved. Got subs out here trying to be friends. Bitch, don't you know, are you brainless? I all got brothers in my circle to ride with me to the very end. Sacrifice every day, see my family rise. Undefeated mindset is what I live by. Can't stop me, gotta get my money. Can't stop this hustle, it's code I live by. Got subs out here trying to be friends. Bitch, don't you know, are you brainless? I all got brothers in my circle to ride with me to the very end. Sacrifice every day, see my family rise. Undefeated mindset is what I live by. Can't stop me, gotta get my money. Can't stop this hustle, it's code I live by. Gotta get this bread so I can eat right. Sacrifice a lot and still watch my mom cry. Left my family to serve this country right. Came back with a new plan in mind. Strap it first and stack it high. Let's burn it, let it be bright. Visions keep me awake at night. Demons haunt me cause there is no light. I started this fight just to live right. Became a demon in the night. Gave up everything, that's called sacrifice. Took a gamble and rolled my dice. Like the boogeyman's gamble on life. 7 or 11s are always right. Stack your bread up, keep the famine tight. It'll always help you sleep at night. Let your dreams flow through these bars. I don't wanna be a star. I just wanna send a message, man. Is it really that hard to live your life and not let it tear you apart? Listen to the voice deep in your heart. Keep to the hustle, it's just a start. It all ends right back at the start. Got subs out here trying to be friends. Bitch, don't you know, are you brainless? I all got brothers in my circle to ride with me to the very end. Sacrifice every day, see my family rise. Undefeated mindset is what I live by. Can't stop me, gotta get my money. Can't stop this hustle, it's code I live by. Got subs out here trying to be friends. Bitch, don't you know, are you brainless? I all got brothers in my circle to ride with me to the very end. Sacrifice every day, see my family rise. Undefeated mindset is what I live by. Can't stop me, gotta get my money. Can't stop this hustle, it's a code I live by. Got out my mama's house, that's how it started out. Ain't gonna lie, gotta give you where it started. Then took you to the streets, got out the gutter. Sacrifice time, sacrifice money, sacrifice lives, didn't see that coming. Did my time, so I was always running. All these drugs couldn't keep me numb. Dealt with the summer, so I got it out the mud. I see coppers still always run. Never gonna snitch, never gonna switch up. Try and catch me, I ain't never gonna slip up. There ain't no privilege, give this shit up. Just the upper class trying to control us. Taking our money and taking our kids, but no one wants to speak up. They just want us to not exist, cause they enjoy the pain like any good narcissist. Creating problems, man, creating issues, cause they never walked a mile in their shoes. They're the ones with everything to lose. They never wanna face the truth, cause they don't give a fuck about you. And that's an absolute. I hope these bars will speak to you. Got subs out here trying to be friends. Bitch, don't you know, are you brainless? I all got brothers in my circle to ride with me to the very end. Sacrifice every day, see my family rise. Undefeated mindset is what I live by. Can't stop me, gotta get my money. Can't stop this hustle, it's code I live by. Got subs out here trying to be friends. Bitch, don't you know, are you brainless? I all got brothers in my circle to ride with me to the very end. Sacrifice every day, see my family rise. Undefeated mindset is what I live by. Can't stop me, gotta get my money. Can't stop this hustle, it's a code I live by.
To the entity known as matter, fucking try striking that, you son of a bitch. Because when you do, you're gonna have hell to pay. Because that's my mod, that's my homeboy who owned all the rights to that fucking song, to all of his shit. I'm tired of you trying to fucking copyright claim or copyright strike my shit when I have full fucking permission to use anything from the artist. Now, with that said, let me make sure I have the right fucking thing up. Oh, there we go. We got a bunch of shit to talk about. And this one may hurt some people's feelings. And at this juncture, I'm tired of caring. I do not care anymore. Because it's come to the point where I'm being told I don't know a fucking thing of what I talk about, yet I present everything in its original format as what it's, shown as. I had to go and provide multiple instances why I told this man to go fuck himself. He's a comedian. Like, this dude does not give a shit other than lining his own pockets. And he's demanding more money from the US. Go fuck yourself, dude. But hey, as his words, not mine. Listen, it's about peace in Ukraine, and you really want me to leave my position. I'm ready to do that in exchange for peace. Secondly, I can exchange it for NATO membership if there's such an opportunity. I'll do it immediately without a long conversation. Hold on, what was the second part? Without a long conversation about it, I am focused on Ukraine's security today and not in 20 years. I don't plan to be in power forever or for decades. Yeah, but you're demanding more money from the U.S. and that was shown on everything. We know what your fucking end goal is, and you know you say that things haven't arrived in Ukraine, and it's been proven it hasn't, and everything else. But you know, at the end of the fucking day, I don't think you're saying the full fucking truth. I don't think you're saying what is needed to say, or what's really needing to be said. Let me get this real quick. This way, in the event somebody says something, I can see it. Because for me, I'm always curious on what world leaders are thinking, on what, you know, elected officials, and I put elected in quotation marks, because let's be real. If you go and elect somebody in your area, your province, your state, your country, or whatever, they're not working for your benefit. Are they really an official that represents you? No. Moving on.
It seems my colleagues
This corrupt piece of shit. Just listen.
are determined to confirm him on the Senate floor. And to all those FBI agents I worked with over the years, to all that are there now that I've not had the privilege of working with, my heart breaks for what you're about to go through.
Oh, reform, restructure, and actual accountability.
You cannot respect, who has not earned your respect.
Wait.
To go through. With leadership that you cannot respect.
Yet, over 300,000 law enforcement endorsed Kash Patel.
Who has not earned your respect.
Who worked on several committees to include the intelligence sector, who was, during the insurrection, which they're going to, I hope they release the entirety of the report of that in due fucking time to show the assets and agencies that were actually working undercover at that time that incited that. But, you know, safeguarding your crybaby bitch ass.
Who will not earn your respect.
Who's already earned their respect by working alongside him for, you know, his tenure in law enforcement, especially with the FBI.
I know you will put your head down and do your jobs because you're professionals.
No, they're professionals, and they're going to hold their heads up high because they know what they're doing.
I hope you stay at the FBI. I hope you don't leave, because if you're committed to the mission and you leave, then it's going to just leave behind people who are less committed to the mission. So I hope you'll stay. I hope you'll gut it out. I hope the same is true of the career professionals at the Department of Justice who are the subjects of a similar witch hunt.
It's not a witch hunt whenever people are found to be corrupt, Adam. It's not. When people are exposed for what they've been doing wrong, it's called accountability, something you fucking lack.
I spent almost 6 years in that department. I venerate that department. And we need the career civil servants, public servants who serve in both those institutions.
You should have been out of your political position long ago.
But it will be a sad day indeed when we confirm the likes of Kash Patel.
It's not a sad day. I'm actually glad that he is confirmed, because now he can actually get down to business and restore the FBI to where it once was.
Knowing what we are getting. we will have no one but ourselves to blame.
Yes, no one but yourselves to blame for the corruptness of what's happened since Obama. Not Biden, not Trump's first term, Obama. I've seen this since it's happened. There were Marines that were investigated. I'm not at liberty to discuss the entire nature as to what they were investigated for. I'm not at liberty to say their names. But in 2010, whenever I'm training with my platoon and I see 5 federal cars come up on the base at the barracks where we're training, questioning 4 Marines for their deployment with us in 2009, and I'm called as a witness to it, my exact question was, what business does this have to do with our maintenance and our sustainability of Al-Assad? If it doesn't have anything pertain to it, this conversation, this interview with myself and my Marines are done. And if you have a problem with that, sirs and madams, contact me directly. Y'all have my number, you have my emails, and you have everything. Do not show up at my residence, though. That is pushing the boundary. You can contact my chain of command, my COC, and we will discuss from there. I'm more than happy to answer your questions, but right now, if that does not pertain to our deployment, this interview's over with. Because what you're doing is you're fishing. Keep in mind, 4 different level security clearances on a single laptop. I had that. So I understood what they wanted to talk about. And I was not willing to budge. But no, Mr. Schiff is scared. On the notion of high egg prices, because people still don't seem to understand, you can't just instantly sign an executive order and, wave your pen and prices instantly go down.
Question day talk.
Thanks, Caroline. Just real quick, you mentioned the inflation executive order the president signed, but egg prices have skyrocketed since President Trump took office. So what specifically is he doing to lower those costs for Americans?
Really glad you brought this up, because there is a lot of reporting out there that is putting the onus on this White House for the increased cost of eggs. I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country. We also have seen the cost of everything, not just eggs. Bacon, groceries, gasoline have increased because of the inflationary policies of the last administration. As far as the egg shortage, what's also contributing to that is that the Biden administration and the Department of Agriculture directed the mass killing of more than 100 million chickens, which has led to a lack of chicken supply in this country, therefore a lack of egg supply, which is leading to the shortage. So I will leave you with this point. This is an example of why it's so incredibly important that the Senate moves swiftly to confirm all of President Trump's nominees, including his nominee for the United States Department of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, who is already speaking with Kevin Hassett, who's leading the economic team here at the White House, on how we can address the egg shortage in this country. As for costs, I laid out the plethora of ways that President Trump has addressed saving costs for the American people over the past week. He looks forward to continuing to doing that in the days ahead. Thank you guys so much.
No, she doesn't have a binder of excuses. She just has the facts. She has everything that's been presented, everything that they're going to ask you in items. And I got friends who are in various different sectors. I've seen questions that they're allowed to ask, questions they're not allowed to ask. One thing I will say is, whenever a reporter asks a question, they're prepared. They're not. No, she laid out the reason why egg prices are so fucking high. When you kill off the suppliers of the eggs, i.e. chickens, and there is a shortage of eggs and chickens, the prices of that go up. Much like whenever there's a shortage of gas, the price goes up. Shortage of oil, the price per barrel goes up. The price of diesel, electricity, etc. all go the fuck up. Now, whenever it comes to the interest rates, that's just greed from the banks and the credit card institutions that's a whole different story. On the housing market, that's all due to certain parameters of the economy. You need to go through and look at that. Like, I know that the housing market is right now in a really good time for sellers, bad time for buyers. It's actually considered a seller's market. If it drops down by maybe 20%, it's going to be a buyer's market. You need it to be at an even level, because whenever one conflates the other, and this is my past as a realtor, when one conflates the other and one's outweighing the other, like the buyer market outweighing the seller's market, you'll have an influx of people that are wanting to buy the same house, which goes into bidding wars and then everything else. Now, whenever that bidding war starts to happen, that property, along with everything else, levels out, and now it's on an equal playing field. However, seller's market, it's a complete opposite. When you have one house that's at, we'll go 300,000 to 350,000, all right? 4-bed, 2-bath, neighborhood, HOA, etc. But you have buyers that are not able to qualify. That right there is going to lead to a shortage. Sellers markets are not necessarily a good thing. Buyer markets are, because that means houses are going like this. Sellers market, it's kind of not as fast. Where the price of eggs come into play, you have a shortage of chickens. Thus, they can't lay as much as they used to. Moving on. All right. Legal win for Doge, as federal judge has declined to issue an order halting Elon Musk and Doge from accessing federal data and cutting personnel. Attorneys for 14 states are attempting to stop Musk and Doge from accessing data in 7 federal agencies and from firing or putting on leave employees in those agencies, U.S. court. Listen.
We have some breaking news now, and this would appear to be another legal victory for the president and the person he's tasked with the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, Elon Musk. A federal judge has just declined to issue an order halting Elon Musk and Doge from accessing federal data and slashing personnel. Attorneys general from 14 states are attempting to stop Musk and Doge from accessing data in 7 federal agencies and from firing or putting on leave employees in those agencies. U.S. District Court Judge Chutkan just refused to issue a ruling from the bench. So at that point, she has not halted Musk and Doge from continuing their actions inside the 7 agencies at issue here. Just real quickly, because of your legal background, your quick thinking.
All right. 2 of the Supreme Court justices have subtly indicated that they would like to strike down the prevailing rule. It's not statutory. Those 2 being Thomas and Kavanaugh, in dicta in other decisions. They'd like to get rid of this rule that a single district court judge someplace in the country can issue a ruling that holds for the entire country. It's not what the founding fathers expected here, and it's been gamed. And, the right can do it, too, so the left shouldn't be too quick to oppose that.
By the way, little history. One Google search. Formerly United States Digital Service, USDS. So this was a previous administration that existed that they're firing back up. So I don't know. I don't get why people are so pissed off about this. I don't. Let me know if you're pissed off and why you're pissed off. And I'll tell you the reason why I'm not pissed off. I'm glad they're doing all this. Perfect example. I had a conversation with my father. And he's like, I don't like the fact that Trump and Elon fired 30% of the federal workforce. I was like, no, I get your notion. But those 30% refused to come back to the offices that they were supposed to work at. And those that did come back, they had so many grievances about it. I'm sorry, but if you're contracted to actually come back to work and that's within your work agreement, you're bound by that legal agreement to go to your workplace. Unless you're a 1099 independent contractor, and you can rightfully say, go fuck yourself. Sorry, no. You're in the wrong.
This is
I'll touch on this here in a second, but we're going to maximize that. Here's the thing. Go to the previous point. If you are a 1099 independent contractor, like whenever I had my real estate license, there were a couple times I told my broker, I'm not coming into the office because I don't need to. The only time I'll come in is if I need to send, if I actually need to come in, is for continuing education, training, or signing any type of contract that needs to be signed where I needed your help. Aside from that, no. You know, I'm not coming in daily wasting that much gas. Not happening.
crazy. According to the Social Security database, this is the amount of people alive in each age bracket. Elon Musk brought this to our attention by tweeting this out tonight. And because there are millions of people registered over the
this is insane.
age of 150, he said maybe Twilight is real and there are a lot of vampires collecting Social Security. It's insane when you look at these numbers. There are 3.4 million people registered between the age of 120 and 129 years old. Look at
Kind of like a lot of waste there that they've been finding, right?
130.
Oh, and abuse at the Social Security Administration?
To 139, almost 4 million. There's actually more 130-year-olds than 120-year-olds. Absolutely wild. Another 3.5 million, supposedly people the age of 140 to 149. And the list goes on, even showing, look, there must have been some sort of a baby boom 220 years ago because there's 1,000 people, according to Social Security, in the United States between the age of 220 and 229 years old. And there's even someone alive at 360. And obviously not okay if these individuals are receiving Social Security checks. So what do you think? Are vampires real or is this money going somewhere else?
All right. WFF News. Go give them a follow on Instagram.
As always, let me know down below.
WFF News. Go give them a follow. I mean, that's just what they're uncovering. That's on the 17th that this was made known. Next one.
This cartoon.
Oh, but you know, I don't know my shit. Oh, this right here Family Guy wasn't canceled. They continue to air it, but they don't like the fact that this still circulates. And community notes, kind of whatever. Yeah, generate video misrepresents reality in advertisement oregano oil from certain company while disguising it as information. But no, here's the thing. We'll just
After it exposed the truth about hospitals. Watch this.
Carter, you've discovered the holy grail of modern medicine. Why the hell would you keep it buried like this?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because there's far more money to be made in treating a disease than in curing it.
I'm not gonna play. Let's see. Yeah, no. You're gonna continue talking. Here we go. Dana White. And on Dana White.
I will never go to a doctor ever again about my general health. They have no clue what they're talking about, and all they want to do is put you on pills. I had the best doctors that you could get from the best hospitals that you could go to. None of them could stop snoring. None of them could get my blood pressure under control. None of them could get my cholesterol, good and bad, leveled out. It's all good now. The medicines are just going to start to stack up. And before you know it, you're going to be on 14 pills with 10 different side effects from each one of them. You're not living the healthy, amazing life that you can. I'm not kidding you. Like he said, I jump out of bed every day ready to kick today's ass.
So, 2 points on that one. One, there's a cure that exists somewhere for cancer. Will they ever make it known public? Fuck no. Because the big pharma will cease to exist. Second one, with what Dana White said, there's a reason why I stopped taking Prazosin. and why I started going and doing the therapeutic routines of what I do. Gaming, whenever I have the money and time, I go to the fucking gun range, and working out. Prazosin is an alpha blocker. It's to treat night terrors. The side effects of that medication made me feel so fucking loopy and drunk every goddamn day. And I was on active duty whenever I was taking this shit. And I asked my psychiatrist, the one who prescribes the medication, do you have anything better that's not going to have me feeling like this? Unfortunately, Sergeant, we don't. You have to take this in order for your terrors to get under control. I'm like, I've opened up about everything. I've told you where I feel the most relaxed. I told you what I feel is good. Why will you not allow me to do what I need to do in order? Because we feel like you're going to be a harm to yourself. If I go for a mental health appointment and I tell them, you know, these are my calmers and this is what I do to calm down, they're going to prescribe at least 4 different medications. And I'm going to ask them, what are the side effects of them? No, you tell me exactly what they are. Are any of them within the opioid family? My most recent mental health professional, and I use that term fucking loosely with them. I actually got them to get fired because whenever I showed up, I said, I need to speak to your boss. Get him in here. And the sessions, they're all recorded for their own study and everything else. And I told him, bring up the most recent recording of what you just told me. And their exact words, they said, and I quote from 7 years ago to this fucking day. As an idiotic notion that the gun range, gaming, and also exercise would ever be availability to where it would calm your neural senses, to where medication would not be the norm, to where you would be able to function within society. End quote. When they played that, they got fired. On the spot, they said, we apologize for your inconvenience. Do you want to reschedule with somebody else? I said, I would, but I want you to sit on the next one. And they did. On top of that, I don't have to worry about going through and going up there monthly, weekly, etc. whenever. It's whenever I actually need to speak to somebody, I have different outlets, and whenever I need that, you know, other notion on mental health, I don't need the medication. It's therapy. It's you know, more therapeutic. Instead of masking it, you work through it. Moving on. Good. That piece of shit just needs to rot. That piece of shit just needs to fucking rot.
All right, look.
I like this guy. Matter of fact, I don't know why I haven't followed him yet.
Look, I assume we all know what the term conflict of interest means. Good, since we're all aware of the definition of it. I just wanted to point out that the judge who declared that Elon Musk and Doge could no longer hold back the funds from the Inflation Reduction Act, not only does his daughter work for the Department of Education, which Doge and the Trump administration plan on doing away with, but that judge also owns $250,000 in stock with a company that received $75 million from that act and was set to receive an additional $150 million later this year. Now, look, I'm sure that's a coincidence. However, if we wanted to dive a little deeper into that judge's finances, when we look at his investments, we'd see that he has like $1,000 of stock here, $1,000 of stock here. In fact, the largest investment he has other than that company is $4,500. So that company is the only company he's invested for more than $5,000. And he's invested $250,000 about 2 months before the Inflation Reduction Act passed. He has invested more than 20% of his entire net worth into this one company. And that one company received $75 million from the Inflation Reduction Act and was set to receive $150 million more, which Doge technically put a stop to, but his order forces that money to be distributed. So him forcing Doge to release that money directly benefits him in millions of dollars worth of value for his stock. Now, look, I'm sure that's a coincidence. I'm sure that wasn't the intention behind it. But I would say that if I was a conspiracy theorist, it might sound like a conflict of interest.
Yeah, it would. Because when you have said person that's, trying to haul something and then forcing them to release it back towards stuff and everything else, and you own $250,000 in stocks into something, the next thing you know, that gets released back, you're going to make, X-fold amount. That's kind of, yeah. Shit be stinking a little. Moving on.
On August 26th.
This one. This one's a little hard for me. This one's a little hard for me because of when it happened. Just listen.
Second, an improvised explosive device, IED, probe took place down the canal running along the perimeter of Kaya. This was ISIS or the Taliban performing an IED test run. We reported this to our chain of command. Days later, we received word to be on the lookout for 2 vehicle-borne IEDs, described as a gold or white Corolla and a green Mazda convertible. Around 2 a.m. on August 26th, intel guys confirmed the suicide bomber in the vicinity of and nearing Abbey Gate, described as clean-shaven, brown-dressed, black vest, and traveling with an older companion. I asked the intel guys why he wasn't apprehended sooner since we had a full description. I was told the asset could not be compromised. Throughout the entirety of the day on August 26, 2021, we disseminated the suicide bomber information to ground forces at Abbey Gate. He was spotted somewhere from noon to 1 p.m. by myself, then Sergeant Charles Schilling, and another. The anomaly in the crowd, who was clean-shaven and fit the description exactly, traveling with an older gentleman. The individual was consistently and nervously looking up at our position through the crowd. The older of the two wore a black silky hijab that was covering his face most of the time. They both had obvious mannerisms that go along with who we believed him to be. They handed out small cards to the crowd periodically, and the older man sat calmly and seemingly coached the bomber. Over the communication network we passed that there was a potential threat and an ID attack imminent. This was as serious as it could get. I requested engagement authority while my team leader was ready on the M110 semi-automatic sniper system. The response, leadership did not have the engagement authority for us. Do not engage. I requested for the battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel Brad Whited, to come to the tower to see what we did. While we waited for him, psychological operations individuals came to our tower immediately and confirmed the suspect met the suicide bomber description. He eventually arrived and we showed him our evidence, the photos we had of the two men. We reassured him of the ease of fire on the suicide bomber. Pointedly, we asked him for engagement authority and permission. We asked him if we could shoot. Our battalion commander said, and I quote, "I don't know," end quote. Myself and my team leader asked
for any officer who is in charge of Marines, let alone a battalion commander who is at minimum a lieutenant colonel, should know.
Very harshly. Well, who does? Because this is your responsibility, sir. He again replied he did not know, but would find out. We received no update and never got our answer.
He probably didn't think it was dire.
Eventually, the individual disappeared. To this day, we believe he was a suicide bomber. We made everyone on the ground aware. Operations had briefly halted, but then started again. Plain and simple, we were ignored. Our expertise was disregarded. No one was held accountable for our safety. About 1730, Staff Sergeant Darren Hoover, friend and mentor.
And this lady doesn't understand his emotions. Just
to get me from the tower to go help find an Afghan interpreter in the crowd. We found the interpreter and his brother, born with American passports. They told us of 5 family members still in the canal. I stayed there waiting for the family members standing against a 2-foot canal wall. 10 minutes passed. Then a flash and a massive wave of pressure. I'm thrown 12 feet onto the ground, but instantly knew what had happened. I opened my eyes to Marines dead or unconscious, lying around me.
Him recalling the experiences and telling his testimony and everything else. You have no idea just how hard that is. You don't. Just people are like, oh, it's hard. No, you have no fucking clue. You just have no fucking clue. The nightmares, the terrors, everything else that he has to deal with daily because of this incident.
A crowd of hundreds immediately vanished in front of me, and my body was catastrophically wounded with 100 to 150 ball bearings now in it. Almost immediately, we started taking fire from the neighborhood, and I saw how injured I was with my right arm, completely shredded and unusable. I saw my lower abdomen soaked in blood. I crawled backwards roughly 7 feet because I thought I was still in harm's way. My body was overwhelmed from the trauma of the blast. My abdomen had been ripped open, every inch of my exposed body, except for my face, to ball bearings and shrapnel. I tried to get up, but could not. Laying there for a few minutes, I started to lose consciousness when I heard Chaz, my team leader, screaming my name as he ran to me. His voice calling to me kept me awake. When he got to me, he dragged me to safety and immediately started triaging me, tying tourniquets on my limbs and doing anything he could to stop the bleeding and start plugging wounds with the help of the other Marines. I was awake through most of it, screaming, moaning, and cursing. I ask you to please ask me about getting shot at the tower in Abbey Gate and how no one wanted my report post-blast. Even NCIS and the FBI failed to interview me. Asked me to elaborate on my ordeal post-blast, and asked me about this one little girl and her family that I reunited. Our military members and veterans deserve our best because that is what we give to America. The withdrawal was a catastrophe, in my opinion, and there was an inexcusable lack of accountability and negligence. The 11 Marines, 1 sailor, and 1 soldier that were murdered that day have not been answered for. Thank you.
Marine Lance Corporal David L. Espinoza, 20 years old, of Rio Bravo, Texas. Marine Sergeant Nicole L. G., 23, of Sacramento, California. Marine Staff Sergeant Darren T. Hoover, 31, of Salt Lake City, Utah. Army Staff Sergeant Ryan C. Noss, 23, of Corryton, Tennessee. Marine Corporal Hunter Lopez, 22 of Indio, California. Marine Lance Corporal Riley J. McCollum, 20 of Jackson, Wyoming. Marine Lance Corporal Dylan R. Barola, 20 of Rancho Cucamonga, California. Marine Lance Corporal Kareem M. Nikoi, 20 of Norco, California. Marine Corporal Dagan W. Page, 23 of Omaha, Nebraska. Marine Sergeant Johanny Rosario Pichardo, 25 of Lawrence, Massachusetts. Marine Corporal Humberto A. Sanchez, 22 of Logansport, Indiana. Marine Lance Corporal Jared E. Schmitz, 20 of St. Charles, Missouri. And Navy Corpsman Maxton W. Soviak, 22 of Berlin Heights, Ohio. There has been a single fucking answer on that. Every single fucking person that was in charge that failed to give any goddamn accountability needs to be investigated and tried for motherfucking treason. Biden included, because he fucking knew and he didn't want to give the goddamn notion of respect on the fucking day where they brought those 13 bodies home. I lost faith in my country that day. Catastrophic failure from the top down on that withdrawal. And not a goddamn person has been tried or even called to fucking answer for it. Across the entire government. No one. Worst fucking failure in the entire armed forces history to date. And you mean to tell me that the Joint Chiefs that were fired recently were unjust? That right there alone should have been called for their fucking resignations. Because their fucking ineptitude, their fucking failure, and their whole mentality on, oh, we need to pander to the fucking woke shit, cost 13 goddamn lives on the pullout of Afghanistan. Go fuck yourselves. And I hope heads roll when they find that investigation. All right. Listen up, taxpayers. Former federal worker gives inside look at federal workers. Boss brag, basically impossible to get fired from the federal government. Time working with the government, she had only seen one person fired. Basically, fucking 5-minute video explaining, oh, we were able to get by the system because we could do what we wanted to. Not the case anymore. Adam Schiff, Elon Musk is trying to access your personal bank and tax data. The world's richest man should not and cannot be able to snoop around your personal finances. End of story. He's not trying to snoop around my personal finances, he's trying to snoop around yours. Because you get paid with taxpayer money and should be subjected to these type of audits on a regular basis to flush out obvious conflicts of interest. And I agree. I'm pretty sure if we took a look at what kickbacks you've gotten back, it would piss off a lot of people. This is why you fight these cowards. The moment you stand up to them, they crumble. Holman has nothing. The Fourth Amendment is clear, and I'm well within my duties to educate people of their rights. He can threaten me with jail and call names all he wants. He's got nothing else.
First of all, I think she's, you know, I won't go after her on
Tom,
national
please
TV
do. Please do. Say what's on your mind. It's a holiday.
Look, she's the dumbest congresswoman ever elected to the Congress, and she proves that every day. And look, bottom line is, I can't believe any member of Congress, Republican, Democrat, Independent, would want to educate criminal illegal aliens who are in the country illegally, been convicted of a violent crime, and have been ordered removed by an immigration judge after due process at great taxpayer expense. You got a congressman or congresswoman that does not want ICE to do the job that Congress has mandated them to do and funds them to do.
Fourth Amendment exists for the sole purpose of no unlawful searches or seizures. However, when you have a judge that sends out a warrant, that goes out the door. So his notion on her being the dumbest, well, one of, not the dumbest, Miss Jasmine Crockett proved that recently. Oh, but I think it's somewhere in here. You'll understand why. He's well within his right. All he has to do is go to the DOJ and get a fucking federal executive warrant signed, and he can execute business as needed. She's fucking stupid. Boston Police Commissioner Michael Cox says that he won't enforce ICE detainers in Boston. We don't care about your immigration status.
You know, the Boston Police Department has pretty defined rules set by the law, and we abide by the law here in the state. And we don't, enforce civil detainers regarding federal immigration law. It's, it's defined here in the state, and that's just how it works.
Well, you've lined up the state. How do you navigate the difference between the state, the city of Boston, and Washington, D.C.?
And so I can't, it's hard enough to run the Boston Police Department. I could never fathom, running outside of that. So I do know this. Our officers are, abide by the laws here in the state, and certainly the city ordinance in the city of Boston. We don't have authority to enforce federal immigration law. And so from our perspective, and what we tell anyone who comes to visit our city, lives in our city, is that we don't care about your immigration status.
Yeah, to a point. I mean, he does have a point with it being one of the safest. Safer than 12% of U.S. cities. I mean, we can easily go off here. Please, Boston. Let's take a look at crime stats. Oh, wait, maybe not that one. Rate of violent crime in the area is 4.612 per 1,000 residents. But we'll go here, neighborhood scout. All right. Crime rate in Boston is considerably higher than the national average across all communities in America, from the largest to the smallest. Although at 27 crimes per 1,000 residents, it is not among the communities with the very highest crime rate. Okay. Not too bad. Anything, shit like this. Victim 1 in 161. And then in Massachusetts, 1 in 318. Kind of decent. But this right here is kind of fucking worrisome. Oh, I'm curious. Let's take a look at my area. I mean, it has to do with, the policies. I'm just curious. I'm not sitting here trying to say, oh, Houston's a lot safer. No, I fucking know Houston's a dangerous city. Like, safer than 2%. Yeah, no, I get it. And Houston's a big fucking most dangerous city in the United States. Memphis, St. Louis, Little Rock, Minneapolis, Detroit, Kansas City, New Orleans, Cleveland, Birmingham, Houston, Milwaukee, Orlando, Baltimore, Atlanta, Stockton. That's actually impressive. They've actually moved up in safety. Phoenix, LA, Vegas, Miami. It's an interesting thing when you search. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to say this city is safer than the other. Like, I was genuinely curious. Like that's why if I go to the fucking inner city for anything personal, I'd bring my fucking gun. And knives. Not knife, and knives. But no, like, he makes a point. He has a point probably roughly around here.
Certainly the city ordinance in the city of Boston. We don't have authority to enforce federal immigration law.
We don't have authority to enforce federal immigration law, and he understands his position. And whether you're there legally or illegally, he says.
And so from our perspective and what we tell anyone who comes to visit our city, lives in our city, is that we don't care about your immigration status.
He's going to enforce the law as it is. So they kind of took this out of context. He's not saying he won't enforce ICE detainers. He's saying that he doesn't have the authority to. He is going to comply with what he needs to comply with. Simple. It's the law. Next one.
We all going
All right, I saw this. I'm like, huh?
to get huge tax refunds? Today on Fox, a viewer asked the question, now that Doge has uncovered that the government wasted our tax dollars on all of this unnecessary stuff, are we going to get a refund? And the political commentator answered and said, that is the next step. Watch this.
This is from a viewer who reached out to me. She's in Cape Coral, Florida. And she says, Harris, could the government give all the taxpayers a refund from the money they're finding that went to places it never should have gone?
Yes, that is the next step. And that is the next natural step. When you are finding all of this money, when you are taking it back, when you are cutting off future streams of funding, give that back to the American people. Then you will see the economy absolutely explode. And people will once again be able to take out new loans and start new businesses and all the wonderful things that.
I'm gonna tell you now, if I get that that return, which they say it could be about $5,000 per person, about a 20% dividend from the billions that they saved, it'd be 20% to the people. I forget what the other 20% was, but then the rest of the 60 could go and offset the debt, which it would be fucking huge. It could be that 60 or the 20. I don't remember which one that they had said. But I will tell you this, if we get a $5,000 check from the government for this, it's immediately going to savings. We ain't touching that shit. Pretty fucking simple.
I told you that under
Oh, yeah. Here we go again.
Democrat control, the federal government spent $4.7 trillion that intentionally cannot be tracked. Because that happened. So quick explanation of how this happened. Any money spent by the Treasury is supposed to have an attached Treasury Access Symbol, or TAS. This is basically just an identification code. And it links any money spent by the Treasury with an actual budget line item. Like they said here, it's a standard financial process. If you're going to spend money, you got to tell us what it's being spent on. Fucking simple. However, the TAS field was left optional for $4.7 trillion in payments, and the vast majority of the time was left blank, making traceability of what that money was spent on almost impossible. That's $4.7 trillion fucking dollars that we can't track. It's $4.7 trillion that we don't know if any of it was approved because it's not linked to anything actually approved in the budget. By the way, that amount of money, that equates to about $15,000 per American that's alive today. What if I told you that under Democrat?
Yeah, and, we are tired of the fucking fraud and the waste and the abuse because, on a 4.7 trillion with a fucking T that can't be traced intentionally. That's kind of alarming. I mean, I want to know where the fucking money's going. I want to know where it was spent. I want to know where it came from. But yet they say, oh, well, the average American knows. Nah, bitch. The only thing I fucking know is on my house, my car, and my 2 credit cards. That's it. And the bills that come monthly. That's it. I don't owe the federal government anything else. I've done my time. I paid my dues. No. You can say, oh, well, you're part of America. No. I don't remember taking out a fucking $1 billion loan. Do you? Ah, thought so.
Democrats are not.
All right. Here we go again. The older millennial. Like I said, I like this guy. He presents facts in everything with what he says. He's bringing up the Logan Act, which he'll basically go into a short definition of it. But going back to the whole 4.7 trillion that is unaccounted for, intentionally unaccounted for, that's a lot of fucking money. That would be, a nice chunk off of the debt, bringing it from 36 trillion to, what is it, like 36.45 now, down to less than 32. If they were able to just account for the bullshit that they lost. Much like the Pentagon lost whenever, or they just instantly lost, around 2001. Oh, but hey, that's a conspiracy theory, right?
Not only violating the Logan Act and possibly... Democrats are not only violating the Logan Act and possibly committing treason, but they're admitting to it on national television.
I am here in Munich because I refuse to let Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and Secretary Hegseth and others be the voice of America to Europe and to the world. There is a group of us here that are engaged in diplomacy, are engaged in discussion.
You're not allowed to do that. First of all, it's a violation of the Logan Act. Secondly, neither a private citizen nor a member of the United States government is allowed to engage in diplomacy with a foreign nation without the express permission of the executive branch. They're just not. They are not allowed to speak on behalf of the American people because it is the right of the executive branch to engage in diplomacy. They need to get the permission of the executive branch, which they very obviously didn't. So at a minimum, this is a violation of the Logan Act. But at its worst, this is treason. Very obvious treason.
All right. We're going to go simple terms. The Logan Act is a U.S. law that prohibits an unauthorized contact between a U.S. citizen and foreign governments. The law was passed in 1799 to prevent authorized negotiations that could undermine U.S. government positions. It makes it illegal for U.S. citizens to negotiate with foreign governments without authorization from the U.S. government. The law applies to private correspondence and diplomacy. The law's intent to prevent unauthorized negotiations that could undermine the U.S. government's position. So, unless he's got written fucking permission from the executive branch, dude's in violation. And I'm pretty sure nobody's got that express written consent. I would love to talk to, other foreign dignitaries about, policies and stuff. But I fucking can't. The moment that I get, something, hey, I represent this country. We need to talk. Are you able to? Hey, I need to speak to somebody about this. I got somebody representing this country that wants to talk to me specifically about a certain situation. Yeah, here's my number. Here's my email. As a fact, here's my address. Show up. I need the express written permission. All right. Call me back once you get it. Sir, madam, I gotta wait for permission to discuss anything further. That's how that goes. Simple.
Yeah.
All right. First of all, I never comment on the ratings because I think that commenting on ratings for yourself or other leaders probably means that there is some political competition on elections. Hold on, what was that? Go back. Are going on. No, it's a good thing to comment on ratings of another country so that people are aware of what's going on.
Політичні змагання, йдуть вибори. У нас такого немає. Сьогодні зранку вийшов КМІС. В принципі, я знаю.
Yeah, because it's state owned.
Я орієнтуюсь, але я не коментую це офіційно, але раз прийшов такий час, значить ми будемо, ініціативу візьмемо в свої руки, скажу так. Передусім, сьогодні вийшла довіра до мене 57.
So, he's basically saying that Trump's wrong in the fact that he's at 4%. You might want to re-poll your entire country, dude. Because they're tired of the war. They're tired of sending people to die. We over here are tired of you asking for billions more when we have our own shit to tend to. We're also tired of funding everybody else's defense. We're also tired of funding the entirety of NATO's GDP. We're tired of funding NATO's own budget. We're tired of, being the world's police. And I seen something by Habitual Line Crosser, which is true. The moment the U.S. steps back and self-contains and self-isolates, it tends to be another fucking world war. There tends to be another conflict somewhere else. I am tired of this country having to resolve everybody else's bullshit. Like, I am tired of seeing men and women I know worry if they're going to be called to go out and deploy. I cannot wait for the day where I find out the last Marine that I know who is on active duty gets their DD-214. Then I can rest easy knowing I won't know a single person I've influenced, whether training or mentoring or leading, is going to get killed. This motherfucker asking for more money from the U.S., saying, oh, your president's wrong. Repoll your country without the one-side biasness, dude. You'll see what the polls really say.
Sorry. I wonder if they were sorry when they were making $1,000 a minute peddling all this crap. I wonder if they're also sorry for trying to censor people who were trying to speak against it. Or if they're sorry for people almost losing their jobs or losing their jobs if they decided not to get it. Let's also not forget how they tried to hide their list of side effects for 75 years. Says sorry.
Yeah, they had, like, whenever you get a medication in a box, no matter what it is, it's supposed to have the list of side effects. I'm pretty sure the video exists somewhere. You won't be able to, I'm not sure if you'll be able to find it on YouTube, but there's a video that should exist somewhere. There were nurses that brought up the bottles of the Pfizer's vaccine, and that lengthy paper was blank. Absolutely blank. Now, there is actual proof in studies and research that shows the mRNA vaccine does indeed cause myocarditis. Search for it yourself. Because I'm not risking this fucking channel. Search for it yourself, because the moment I search that and I show it, it's getting flagged. There is a reason why I've never taken the jab, why I've always resorted to soup, juice, herbs, carbs. Whenever I caught the Omicron variant. Yes, medication to help the symptoms out, but juice, soup, herbs, and carbs. The herbs were the herbal tea. The carbs were basically like bread and stuff. Juices, pineapple juice, and the soup, either udon or tomato soup. Now, I had a bed right here, and I isolated myself from my family so that they didn't get sick. That window stayed open, and the fans blew the air out. If anything, it felt like I just had a worse version of the flu. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, whenever I feel a little bit ill and, I get a slightly higher than normal body temp, I take the bench I have right there and I work out and I sweat it out. Should you do that? Not necessarily. But the easiest way for anything in the body to expel itself is by sweating, by vomiting, or by crapping it out. Simple. It's got to get out of the body one way or another. I mean, or you want. It's got to leave. All right. Elon Musk says that a politician is receiving kickbacks from Ukrainian funding. I need proof. I'm not taking that at word. But I wouldn't put it too past on, them actually getting kickbacks. I'd wholeheartedly say, they might. Because how the fuck do they become millionaires on a $174,000 salary in 2 years? Kind of interesting, huh? Because of your failed leadership at the top. That's why. Where's it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Oh, it's not showing. Fuck. So many people commented before that, but I'm telling you. Failed leadership at the top. Hate to tell you. Absolute fire from Christine Anderson as she takes a stand in the EU. President Trump is showing us the way, and unless we go down in history as complete idiots, we should follow his lead. Green Deal, USAID, WHO, take it all down and give us Doge instead so we can fight the despicable globalitarian misanthropists. How the... What the fuck is that? Hang on. Before we dive into that, I want to see what this is. Definition. Misanthropy is general hatred, dislike, or distrust of the human species, human behavior. Oh, really? All right, here we go.
We need to end the man-made climate change hoax. USAID, afuera! A government agency that fraudulently wastes taxpayers' money, engages in money laundering, and acts as a CIA front to manipulate public opinion abroad to effect regime change must be taken down. USAID has even indirectly funded the Wuhan lab from where the Chinese virus was leaked, which then ushered in the COVID totalitarianism.
That's actually been proven correct, too, because they've shown where funding from USAID was going. And I find it hysterical that the lab in Wuhan, China, where people tried to silence people who spoke out about it, is where it originated from.
WHO, afuera! These people are fed up with these unelected bureaucrats of this lobby organization for Big Pharma, who are unaccountable to no one except maybe to their Chinese donors. President Trump is showing us the way. And unless we want to go down in history as complete idiots, we should follow his lead. Green Deal, development aid, WHO, take it all down and give us Doge instead so we can fight these despicable globalitarian misanthropists. Thank you.
She says it perfectly. I mean, seriously. Why in the fuck are you going to have one organization telling you how you should live your life in the manner of trying to be as healthy as possible? Like, if I was to present what I take daily to World Health Organization with the following. 2 gummies of vitamin C. I take 2 to 3 capsules of L-citrulline, one tablet of L-lysine. I take 3 testosterone boosters, fucking CoQ10, and then a men's one. They'd be like, you're not healthy. I feel healthier than I've ever been in my entire fucking life. So, if my doctor is impressed on my progress and my physical appearance, my physicality and stuff like that, how like my overall standing in good health, he's impressed on that. He's not knocking everything that I've been doing, because he understands the studies that are out there. He also understands why I'm getting ahead of everything. The only thing that was a little worrisome was my cholesterol. And he's like, no, your cholesterol's good. Continue doing what you're doing. I'm like, will do. Everything came back good. So I'm not going to let, an organization that has no fucking say on how I live my life tell me how to live my fucking life. Oh, well, the World Health Organization said that you can't game anymore. Go fuck yourself. That would be my exact quote to them. All right, at the border. The U.S. State Department under President Trump has officially designated the following as foreign terrorist organizations: Tren de Aragua, MS-13, Sinaloa Cartel, Jalisco New Generation Cartel, United Cartels, Northeast Cartel, Gulf Cartel, Michoacan Family. Oh, I can't see that. Yeah, right here. Senator Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. Dude, over in Texas, we'll defend our own. You ain't gotta worry about that. This right here is a bold fucking step towards the southern border. Because we're tired of seeing the cartels and the gangs and everybody else have their fucking way. We're tired of seeing people come across in droves, coming here illegally. About time it stops.
Even in the craziest times of how the fuck could you vote for a Democrat? These are the same people that charged Donald Trump 34 to 36 times for falsifying business records. Meanwhile, the banks came out, got paid, said there's no victims, there was nothing done wrong, and they still charged him anyway. So when he goes in and he audits the fucking government, and then he shows you that trillions of our fucking dollars has been sent to people who should never be getting money from us. When he shows you that the United States government funded fucking COVID, and then they've been funding the national media to lie to us, to give us disinformation. They attacked us during fucking COVID, if you fucking forgot. And he's exposing all this shit in front of you. How they're fucking stealing from us and fucking killing us, and they're outside crying. Because he's exposing that they're fucking stealing from us and fucking killing us. They are criminals. All of them need to go to fuck to prison forever. Every last one of them. Everybody there now need to go to fuck to prison.
At Montaga on Instagram. Give that man a follow. Everything he just said, 100% true. They have uncovered so much spending, it's not even fucking funny. Illegal spending and illegal funding where it should not have been gone. Yeah, people are going to argue, oh, well, it was, used in a legal manner. No, the fuck it wasn't. had no vested interest towards the U.S. whatsoever. Now, some of the aid that USA did procure and do, like, fighting Ebola in Africa, that's worthwhile. But at the core root of it, how much of it went to rebel gang wars? How much of it went to, their corrupt governments and shit like that? That's the question that I want to answer.
$1 billion.
Here's the dividend that was mentioned earlier.
They've canceled so far. Over 1,000 contracts canceled. And I think that the number is only going to go up, Ainsley.
Yeah, and he's even showing an interest in the idea of guaranteeing a $5,000 check to every American. It would be called the Doge dividend.
55.
Yeah, like $5K towards every American wouldn't be a bad thing. Because people can take that and start putting it into things, especially those that were affected by the fires and hurricanes. They could have something instead of $750 fucking dollars where they lost everything. And insurance companies don't want to pay them out. This right here would be big. All right, as he was, it would be huge. Be huge. We would give so much away. Sorry, that's a piss poor Trump impersonation. Like, I like this. Not for the money aspect, but because it's given back to the people as to what was obviously taken from. What's needed is more uncovering on the corruptness and the spending and everything else. Moving on.
We're hearing that Russia wants to force Ukraine to hold new elections in order to sign any kind of a peace deal. Is that something that the U.S. would ever support?
Well, we have a situation where we haven't had elections in Ukraine, where we have martial law, or essentially martial law in Ukraine, where the leader in Ukraine, I hate to say it, but he's down at 4% approval rating, and where a country has been blown to smithereens. You got most of the cities are laying on their sides. The buildings are collapsed. It looks like a massive demolition site. The whole, so many of the cities. They haven't done it in Kiev because I guess they don't want to shoot too many rockets in there. They've done it 20%, but they haven't done it 100%. If they wanted to do it 100%, it would probably happen very quickly. But you have cities that are absolutely decimated. And yeah, I would say that, when they want a seat at the table, you could say the people have to, wouldn't the people of Ukraine have to say, like, it's been a long time since we've had an election. That's not a Russia thing. That's something coming from me and coming from many other countries also.
They need to hold elections, dude. Like, when a president doesn't want to, abide by the elections and let people do their due process, that in its entirety becomes to the point of a dictatorship. It becomes to the point of what you have in Putin. Like where Putin in Russia. It's a totalitarianism government, and people cannot live correctly under that. I would even argue it would be socialistic. Oh, but look at Venezuela. Yeah, well, look at how fucking bad Venezuela went. I got 2 neighbors that came from Venezuela that can speak perfectly on the situation over there. I'll tell you straightforward. I want people to be in this country legally, but them 2 elderly folk that are right next to me, I don't give a shit. One works for Google, the other one's an educator. They pay their taxes, and they're really damn good citizens. I am personally not going to ask them their immigration status. That is not on me. If they're here legally, cool. If they're not, I don't give a shit. Because they're doing their due diligence. They're contributing to society. They're not sitting there going and murdering people and everything else. They're doing stuff correctly. They're not selling drugs. They're not growing any type of crop that could be harmful. They got a fucking above ground pool in the backyard. Kidding me? The two nicest people I've ever met in my entire life. All right. President picked the wrong bunch of lawyers to mess with. Cute.
So important for American people to understand what's happening. Their government, their watchdog agencies, the people who go to work every day to fight for them are being fired illegally in what is just a
Not illegally.
wholesale dismantling of entire agencies.
Yeah, agencies where you have a lot of waste and stuff on that one. People who don't want to go back to the workforce because they got so comfortable working from home, collecting $100,000 plus annually, without any merit to show for why they should continue to keep their salary. But at least
Now,
one.
You're a lawyer, and you know firsthand that a lot of this is happening illegally. Explain what we're missing here and how this can happen if indeed what is happening is illegal.
It's a great question, Kira.
You don't know. That right there, along with where she said, it's a great question. And right there, right after. Somebody who understands speech patterns and where people are not able to articulate the notion of what they're talking about, she has no correct answer.
Civil servants have a lot of protections under the law, and
You didn't answer the question, though.
we're only supposed to be fired if our performance falls short on the job.
Where you're listing their performances have fallen short. Simple. They don't want to do the jobs correctly. They don't want to show up to the workforce, and they don't want to, abide by what's being told.
So what has happened is that the administration has fired us. We call it layoffs sometimes, but that's not what it is. It's an illegal firing. And
So by me being laid off when the oil and gas industry was going through the shitter, that's illegal? No. It's because the company at the time needed to downsize its workforce to ensure they continued to be profitable and to continue to be operational.
it's just not credible to say that thousands of people were determined to fall short of expectations. I mean, literally every probationary employee at my agency was fired.
Probationary employees. Last I checked, probationary employees are not on par with those who earn the same amount.
It can't be that we all fell short.
So what can you do now? Can you do anything now? Are you going to do anything now?
Of course, my colleagues and I are fighting back. Our union is already in court. They've brought a couple of cases that I think we'll see action in the next few weeks. And, all I can say is that Elon Musk and the president picked the wrong bunch of lawyers to mess with.
I'm going to laugh whenever that fucking falls through, because all they have to do is just bring up their employment agreement, bring up their contracts, and show their performance statuses. If any of it's falling short, you're out of luck. Simple. All right. Zelensky accuses Trump of living in a disinformation space a day after the U.S. president falsely accused Ukraine of starting the war with Russia. This is CNN. Found evidence in Zelensky, December 2024 to present. If not for the billions funneled to him by the U.S. over the prior 2 months by Biden, he would be underwater in the polls. Let's see the polls in 30 days. First one. Frontline defense is in danger of crumbling. Zelensky's popularity is fading, and very few Ukrainians envision him as their next president. A potential rival. Just 16% would vote to re-elect him for his second term, according to an opinion poll of 1,200 Ukrainians published this week by the Social Monitoring Center in Kiev. The poll, the most comprehensive study of electoral preferences since the invasion began in 2022, also found that 60% would prefer Zelensky not even stand for re-election. Let's go to the next one. New poll, nearly 70% of Americans want talks to end with war in Ukraine. Roughly 70% of Americans want the Biden administration to push Ukraine toward a negotiated peace with Russia as soon as possible. Kinda hard to fight that one. Zelensky responds to Trump's claim of falling ratings. I mean, kinda, like 16%, dude. That's a fucking bar from. That's kind of like on the opposite end of 57%. Around 50% of Ukrainians trust President Vladimir Zelensky as of February. Really? That says different. I should go from 16 to 57. Oh. You tell them what to say or they get killed, much like over in North Korea. Zelensky could face tough re-election prospects. Oh, wait, didn't you just say this? So in popularity he experienced early in the war with an improved rating of about 90% has been slumping badly. That's from New York Times. But, 16% to 57%. I don't know, dude. I'm sorry, I could care less about the Kraken. Fucking crackhead comedian. Okay.
Post office is different than other areas of government that it has to operate like a private business. You also mentioned that about 80% of the volume of first class mail has gone down over time. Can you think of a private business where 80% of what they're, doing to make money is going down in volume that would actually increase their employees?
And then I'll give my
Yeah. So, Senator, you keep asking. I mean, I didn't make the laws that organize the United States Postal Service. Okay? I came in, as I said, to the condition that we had, and I'm trying to fix it. Now, you exaggerate the hiring aspects.
I know of no one in private practice or investors who, give advice through a corporate board who would say, you have a declining business model, we're going to increase the numbers, but then when you have a choice of hiring contractors that won't be paid the same wages or pension benefits or health care benefits that you pay your employees, you're up 190,000. You've insourced 190,000 jobs. And it's just sort of inexplicable. The whole point of the reform of shifting the cost, it's not really reform, it's a shell game. We just took a bunch of things that are still costs on your books and we put them on somebody else's books somewhere else in government. It's still a massive cluster in a way that the debt problem is just shifted over to another account. But in doing that, the main thing you were trying to get away from was healthcare costs and pension, right? And so if you compare a contractor or a contracted employee to a government employee, an insourced employee, and you compare the health costs and the pension costs, they're dramatically higher for insourced. So by increasing your number of people who work for the government as opposed to contractors, you're compounding the same problem. You were here with us 3 years ago saying, we can't handle all these other expenses. We need to shift them somewhere else.
By the way, if y'all remember, this is the same dude that put his hands over his ears at a congressional hearing.
And so the reform package did that. But in contrast, then you could continue to hire more people instead of saying, well, we have all these extra costs associated with government labor. Why don't we hire labor outside of the government and use contractors?
So in isolation on one element,
he can't give an answer because everything that Rand Paul has just said is true. 80% decrease in volume, but added 190,000 employees. How do you do that? You're going to bankrupt your entire department of the United States Postal Service if you don't fix that. Okay. All right. Little quick thing. All right. If you add jobs, right? We're just going to go, this is jobs. And this is employees. If you add more jobs, you want more employees to go up. Correct? But if you're increasing the jobs, lowering the employees, your profits go down. But if you take and You take in fucking, where's it at? There it is. If you lower the amount of jobs and lower the amount of employees, you'll come to a baseline. And just so that y'all know, this is money. Whereas your baseline will stay where it's at, and then whenever you have the amount of employees where you have at a good amount, you can actually take your jobs, bring it back here, and then at some point where your amount of employees, you can start increasing for your overall revenue. What they are like, what's going on at the U.S. Postal Services is this is what's going on. And they're trying to keep this they're trying to keep that, where it's where you have excess jobs, as employees, for the money which is going down. They're trying to keep this from being trying to keep this because this is how we get our mail for the majority of it. They're trying to, like, the U.S. government's trying to keep the United States Postal Service from being shut down. Because I still need to know if I'm going to, have bills in the mail. I still need to know of what's going on. So they're trying to figure out how in the hell are you able to insource 190,000 jobs, but you're losing money? How? Okay, this dude needs to get out of his fucking position and retire and never step foot in politics ever again. Just listen.
Of course there's some wasteful spending, but you don't use a meat axe and cut everything.
Yes, you do.
We need to look at each program. We need to go through Congress and see what's wasteful and move.
I've said this again. They've tried. You stonewall. You don't move on. You get there and continue going in circles. Nothing gets done. Then you say, we're done here. Wasteful spending continues. Then it's the same process over and over and over. I might as well keep fucking paying up for this one. All right. Okay. You have an agenda, right? You have some item that you want to bring to fucking I know we're just gonna put C as Congress, all right? Oh shit, you can't even see this. We'll put C as Congress. So you have an item, you need to bring it to Congress. Congress stonewalls. They say, hey, we're done, but you need to figure out how to cut your you need to figure the issue out. Then you bring it back, it goes to Congress, they stonewall, then you go back. Then you bring it back, it goes to Congress, stonewalls. It just continues going and going and going. With what Doge is doing, they're getting rid of Congress, they're not stonewalling, and they're finding the solution. Because what they're doing is they're finding the money that's being wasted, and they're straight up taking a meat axe to it. They're cutting it at a fucking rapid notion. I don't know about you, but I don't like the old way of things. I like what Doge is doing.
Move to eliminate it, and what's very not wasteful but very much needed. I'll give you one example. They went after community health centers in Medicaid. They're among the most efficient producers of health care we have, yet they tried to eliminate them. It makes no sense. They're just using a meat axe and cutting everything, including many things that American families need, want, and approve of.
American families need you guys to stop being career politicians. We want you guys to stop earning millions in illegal tradings and kickbacks. And we want you to start earning what we earn so you're more in touch with the fucking communities. And we need you motherfuckers to actually represent us correctly. That's why I say your ass needs to go. I am hoping they pass term limits for Congress. I'm hoping and praying that they do. And I'm hoping that they say, oh, by the way, you will not continue to receive that six-figure salary here on out. That needs to happen. Oh, this is interesting, okay? Unconfirmed speculative rumored reports that Doge have uncovered a mysterious government agency called bots blocking out the sun. The bots department has allegedly received over 100,000 million billion trillion unknown in federal funding to fund its operations all over the world. I'm almost certain that number's just kind of fabricated, but
December 10th, 2024 here at Chemtrail Hill. And we got a lot of spray action going on here today, because this is the first day this month that we could see any type of a blue sky. And the military and hundreds of private contractors are hard at it today, destroying what should be an absolutely beautiful day after a month of nothing but gray filth over and over again, day after day. But this is what we get on the first day of any type of a normal sky. We are under attack on so many levels.
And I guarantee you, not more than 2 to 3 days later, after he had set that date. What day was that?
10th, 2024 here at Chemtrail.
December 10th, 2024.
December 10th, 2024 here at Chemtrail Hill.
At Chemtrail Hill? Something like that? I'm almost certain 2 to 3 days later, they got hit with harsh fucking weather. I have been noticing a pattern with this shit. You'll see there's jet streams and stuff like that. You know, jet streams. Call it what it is. It's fucking chemtrails. You'll see them spray that shit in the fucking sky. Then there'll be a harsh storm. Followed by rapid change in temperatures. I'm almost certain that's what happened there.
All right, new.
But yeah, that's another conspiracy theory. Joe Rogan. Who?
Topic, Joel, before we go. The left-leaning podcast, Midas Touch, has just done the unthinkable, dethroned Joe Rogan to become the country's most popular podcast. Do you...
All right. They're correct on the country. But they're wrong on the world. Like, this is by country. This is by world.
You see this as a sign of a bigger political shift? Because even these three guys specifically.
Yeah, no, seriously, like, I'm sorry, but
Topic, Joel. Before.
I find this interesting. You are a part of them. 571.8K followers. Oh, 1.5 mil. 3 times the following.
Rogan to.
Like, I have no senior digital editor clips together a Snapstream internet hooligan. Who the fuck? I've never heard of you. I thought this was funny, and I pulled up what was shown worldwide. They're not number one. I'm sorry. Worldwide, no. Country, yes.
To become the country's most political shift, because even these three guys specifically, they are not your touchy-feely progressives. They're like three bros from Long Island.
Yeah. Look, I think that this does signal, one, Democrats and let's just call it the non-conservative ecosystem catching up to where the kind of Rogan right has been.
And they're not policy guys. They're anti-Trump guys.
Oh, you're Hillary for America. I don't validate a damn thing you say. I could give a shit less.
Right has been.
Hillary for America, former senior aide. No, I have nothing worth noting on anything you have to say. With that, we're moving on. Because I could give a shit less about that bitch. This dude, Ukrainian soldiers now tearing American flags with their helmets to protest Donald Trump.
Ну що, пацани, дождались ми підтримки, а? Дождались.
Yeah, nice nice display of Blackwater contract. But oh shit, I shouldn't have said that, right? Oh no, I'm gonna have my doors and shit kicked in, right? Everybody already knows what the fuck's going on. Then when I have their contractors going over there portraying as Ukrainian soldiers whenever they're, over there doing their bidding and trying to get that going on. Blackwater, BlackRock, whatever the fuck you want to call it. We already know, dude. Zelensky and wife raise eyebrows while posing for a glossy Vogue cover with famed photographer Annie Lebowski. Lebowitz, sorry, not Lebowski, sorry. As Ukrainian war rages on, I would be calling into question what his fucking motives are. He can go fuck himself.
Well, good.
The House and the Senate want the same outcome to quickly bypass the agenda of the President of the United States. This is why the Senate is here working and moving forward on Chairman Graham's budget resolution that will preserve optionality and unlock the process to provide the necessary resources to enact the agenda.
Good afternoon, everyone. As it stands today, the Senate has confirmed 18 cabinet or cabinet level nominations for the Trump administration.
Okay.
And that will put us at the fastest rate in getting nominees through the Senate confirmation process since 2001. So we're encouraged with how that has been going. We owe that to our colleagues.
2001. I think it was roughshod about the same time as to what he's talking about months before 9/11, but I can't wait for that report to come out either.
Who've been willing,
because I'm going to explode. I've always been curious as to what the fuck actually happened.
To step up and are very committed to getting them across the finish line, despite, I might add, a lot of Democrat resistance. They've tried to make it hard, But as we just continue to grind through the process, we've been successful in getting 18 done, and tomorrow we'll do Cash Patel. We have a couple more that we'll tee up for next week. With regard to legislation, I think as you all know, Senator Graham and the Budget Committee last week reported out a budget resolution, and thank them for doing that. That tees up an opportunity for us to move that across the floor. And as you all know, that unlocks budget reconciliation, which will follow from it. And this particular budget resolution, I think, as you know, addresses the president's priority, top priority, which is securing the border and implementing and putting in place his immigration policies, rebuilding our military, and creating energy dominance for this country. So it's focused on those three things. It's focused on the border, it's focused on national security, and it's focused on energy. The House, as you know, is working on a different budget resolution, and we certainly wish them all the success in moving it. We will work closely with them. More power to them.
By the way, the only thing on the budget resolution that I've seen, it doesn't have specifics listed. It's literally blank all the way up until past 2035. So I'm very, very, very fucking curious what the budget resolution was actually passed. I have no fucking clue what's in there. None. And I mean, it's like, what, over 70 fucking pages? And it's just blank. Like, January of 2024, or not January 2025, January 2026, February 2025, March, April, May, June. I'm sitting there scrolling. I'm just looking for a dollar figure. Looking for a fucking dollar figure. And I didn't see a damn thing. So I am curious what's in that budget.
What they're trying to do is get the tax piece of this done, and done quickly. And obviously we all want to see the president's tax priorities addressed, which is making not only the tax 2017 taxes, extending them, but making them permanent. And that's certainly the priority for most, if not all, of the Republican senators here in our conference as well. So we will continue to work together in a way that ultimately gets us across the finish line and helps put the president's agenda in place. And as I said before, I think those priorities are very, very clear as outlined in our budget resolution, and coupled with what the House is doing.
I still need a fucking article or something that shows what the entire, not article, document that shows what the entire budget resolution is. That is what I am curious on. How much is going for defense spending? How much for the U.S.? How much is going for defense spending for other countries? What does the budget look like for our departments that actually could use it instead of wasting what they've been finding? What about for the housing market, for the energy department? What about for the water department, natural resources, farming, etc.? I need to know what's in there. Honestly, I don't think it should be senators and legislators that vote on that. It should be the American people. Everybody should have the availability to review it and then make a vote on it. Give it 30 days for people to review it. Then they make their vote at the end of the month. All right. Ukrainian polling claiming support for Zelensky was funded by USAID. U.S. intelligence estimates public support for Zelensky and his policies at around 4% among Ukrainians, as noted by President Trump. Mainstream media in the U.S. is citing recent polling by Kiev International Institute of Sociology that Zelensky approval rating is 57%. The only problem is that the Kiev Institute or International Institute of Sociology was funded by USAID and operates under the watchful eye of the Ukrainian government. That is what I alluded earlier as state-owned media. Kind of ironic how I already said something like that. Stunned CNN viewers with two devastating takedowns live on air. Paul Offit and Pamela Brown came prepared for a debate. What they received was a reckoning.
health. No, it's the public health leaders themselves. It's people defending with the record that's happening to health at HHS why cuts are bad. Of course we should make cuts. Of course the personnel should be changed. What's causing distrust in public health authorities is conflict of interest, like Dr. Offit taking millions of dollars from pharmaceutical makers like Merck while approving and recommending pharmaceuticals on ACIP committees. It's the fact that Dr. Offit's saying that science is always settled when he himself has approved vaccines that have been recalled for causing organ failure for kids. And it's the fact that Dr. Offit is talking about measles, which is important. And I want to be clear, Hamel, I don't want to get this out. It's important. But there were 300 deaths from measles a year before the invention of the vaccine. We have 38% of children right now having prediabetes. Bobby is focused on that. He's focused on reorganizing the department. And that's what we should be talking about, not this distraction. Trust him.
And no, like whenever you question somebody's position, of course they're going to come at a defensive. Like it's a given notion.
A lot of claims there. I want you to respond to that. And we should note you are a member of the FDA Vaccine Advisory Committee.
Oh, really?
And you recently told CNN that RFK Jr. will hurt America's vaccine infrastructure. So please respond to that and tell us what you mean
Pamela,
by
I hope
that.
we can disclose his. I hope he can disclose his millions of dollars of pharmaceutical payments while serving in that committee.
Okay, Dr. Offit, please go ahead and respond.
Well, first of all, you're not allowed to serve on the FDA's Vaccine Advisory Committee if you have a relationship with a pharmaceutical company. And so because I don't have a relationship with a pharmaceutical company, I'm able to serve on that committee. Secondly, and most importantly, actually, the things that Callie talks about, I actually agree with in some ways. I think that we are, for example, more obese as a country than we should be, and that the consequences of obesity like hypertension and type 2 diabetes, I think we do have, in many ways, more chronic illnesses. I think we over-medicate our children. I think there's many things we can do better. I actually wrote a book called Overkill When Modern Medicine Goes Too Far. So I agree with all that. What I don't agree with is that in any way, vaccines are harmful, as RFK Jr. says. I mean, RFK Jr. continues to claim that vaccines cause autism when they don't. He's now made childhood vaccines a major target of this administration. And that's only going to be to the detriment of children.
Hold on, no, Callie, I have to let Dr. Offit speak. This has to be a civil, respectful conversation in order for this to work and for Americans, viewers to soak this up. So I want to let Dr. Offit finish, and then I'll go to you, Callie, I promise. Go ahead, Dr. Offit.
But man's later question, is it appropriate for a member of a government advisory committee to have 1.5 million salary paid by Merck and receive millions in pharma royalties while he's ensuing guidance on products those companies make? Like, I'm sorry, there's still, like, I agree with the doctor here. There's still no scientific evidence or scientific proof that vaccines cause autism. I have my suspicions, but I'm going to wait for the actual findings to come out. Because I'm not going to say something today and I have my foot in the mouth later down the road. I have my own suspicion on what causes autism. My wife and I, we've done our own research. It's something to deal with the brain, but at what stage in development within the womb does it cause? I'm curious if it's something that was, like, if it's something given to the women who are bearing the children that causes something that may develop in the brain while the baby is developing in the womb. That's my suspicion. I'm not going to say what type of drug. I'm not going to say what type of medication because I'm very, very fucking curious. And if it is, I'm telling her, file a fucking lawsuit.
That's for now.
All right. Here we have Representative Jim Jordan. One of my favorite political leaders. And yes, I know I called for term limits, but the caveat to that is if you are showing good merits and good deeds, take it. While in a political area, and if your merits outweigh what you've been able to, or like if your merits outweigh your position, which he has done, you're able to able to mentally do your job correctly, which he and several others have been able to do, correctly represent any and all constituents, which he and many have been able to do, and pass a cognition test every 2 years to include a physical and have your records audited on a yearly basis. And if you pass all that, then you stay in your position for another 2 years. If not, get out.
What 2 weeks have been saying, instead of stopping the stupid spending, they attack the guy who's exposing the stupid spending. I think we should maybe get rid of the stupid spending. Trans comic opera in Ireland, Sesame Street on Iraqi television. I think maybe we should focus on that. No. Can't do that. And I think this just underscores the fundamental difference between the left and those of us in the Republican Party, those of us conservatives. The left thinks the bureaucrats are smarter than we the people. Got to trust the bureaucracy. Got to trust you got to trust the experts in the government. I'd rather trust the people. The 77 million people who elected President Trump, who told us he was systematically going to go through these agencies and identify dumb things where taxpayer money is going to. He told us he was going to do it. The American people understood it. He got elected. Now he's carrying out that mission, and they're attacking the guy who's President Trump has put in charge of this effort. The bureaucrats who decided Big Bird and Bert and Ernie on Baghdad TV was a good use of taxpayer money. Can't question them. Can't do that. Can't question the people in the bureau. Can't question the 108,000 people who work at Treasury. No. They're smarter than the folks President Trump has asked to come in and look at where our tax money is going. Can't question, I think about this. The smartest bureaucrat in the history of the world, Dr. Fauci, the things he told us. We weren't allowed to question him for 2 years, and he ran our lives.
Because if you question that fucker, and if you question who said, WHO, you were investigated. And if you're somebody that's already on at least a couple watch lists with the FBI, and you mentioned something, your ass is tailed. Hi, that'd be me. Oh, it was fucking hysterical whenever I caught the cops red-handed. Because they weren't expecting me at a stoplight where it's 2 lanes, no cars behind me, no other cars beside them. They pull up next to me. I roll my window down. I tell them roll yours down. I say, hey, how long are y'all gonna follow me? Oh, sir, we don't know what No. Y'all knew I was leaving my house. I seen you speed around the corner at that intersection. I'm not gonna reveal where I'm at. You came at this intersection fucking fast and furious, and you've been following me for 3 miles. How much longer are you gonna keep following me? I'm just heading right down the road to go get some lunch.
And here's the irony. Everything he told us turned out to be false. Told us tell us the virus didn't come from a lab. Yes, it did. We got agencies now that tell us that, confirm that. Told us the vaccinated couldn't get it. Told us the vaccinated couldn't transmit it. He's wrong on both those counts. Told us masks work. Told us 6 feet social distancing was based on science. They just made it up. Here's the kicker. He told us this is the first virus in history where there was no such thing as natural immunity. Can't question him. Got it.
Yet there's a fucking bright yellow ball up in the sky.
To trust the bureaucracy. I'd prefer to trust the people. Oh, by the way, remember when they tried to set up a bureaucracy in the government that was going to tell us what we were allowed to say? They actually had tried to set up the Disinformation Governance Board as if a bunch of federal bureaucrats could tell us what we can say, what we can't say, what's information, what's disinformation. You got to be kidding me. So I'll trust the guy who was elected by 77 million Americans. I'll trust the Constitution. The executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States. You know why they did that in the Constitution? Because that's the guy who puts his name on a ballot and has to get votes. Not the bureaucracy, not the thousands and thousands of people who think they're so much smarter than us regular folks who just get to vote.
See, he is not out of touch with his constituents and with, everyday Americans. He's not. I would love, absolutely love, to sit down and talk to Senator Jim Jordan, to Senator and physician, Dr. Rand Paul. One of my favorite senators, Senator Kennedy. Another gentleman from Missouri, Josh Hawley. Chip Roy from Texas is another one. I've already talked with Congressman Crenshaw briefly at a meeting. Dude's very, very well versed. Representative Jo Jorgensen, I think she would do very well in D.C. I'm not even joking. She 100% will. I would love to talk to some of them. There's a couple Democrats, I can't remember who. Yeah, they may be, way out there on their thinking, but some of them make sense. Congressman Fetterman. I'd like to talk to him. He's a Democrat, but the answers that he gives, it shows that his cognition's coming back from whenever he had a stroke. I'm not joking. Yes, I make fun of a lot of people in the political sphere, but I 100% understand that it is a stressful job. But at the same time, ain't no way in hell you should only be working 180 days. No fucking way.
Trust the guy who was elected and the people he's put in charge of this effort. He told us he was going to do it. The American people elected him to do it. And maybe focus on stopping the stupid spending. After all, we have a $36 trillion debt. Finally, I would just say this. This is a good bill by a good member of our Congress, Mr. Siscomani. We passed it last year. We should pass it again. And with that, I yield back.
And they tried rushing him. And he knew what they were going to do. Everything he said is spot fucking on. From Anthony Fauci to the Wuhan lab leak over in China to the fucking World Health Organization to the disinformation committee that tried fucking monitoring our lies and told us of what we could and could not speak. Moving on. Denver City Council ever discusses using tax dollars to raise the budget for a legal defense fund to protect criminal illegal aliens.
So I want to be clear, the description of this item talks about the need for representation of the city in a congressional inquiry before the U.S. Committee on Government and Reform. And what we know is that the mayor is being asked to go and testify in D.C. in defense of the policies of this city, which were adopted by both the executive and legislative branches of Denver. When the city adopted a comprehensive set of immigration policies in 2016 and 2017, which was under the leadership of now Councilmember Torres and others, we also created a Denver Immigrant Legal Services Fund. And we as a city did that because of the just life-altering impact of immigration proceedings on people who live here and who have often come here as asylum seekers from really horrifying conditions under the general protections of international and U.S. law that say that countries have to take people in those circumstances. So as of now, immigrants are 10 times more likely to succeed in their case in immigration court when they have representation, but 80% of those who are in detention, in proceedings who are detained in the GEO Group facility in Aurora are unrepresented. There are also 77,000 pending cases in the federal immigration court here in downtown Denver, most of whom, to my understanding, are people who are not in detention, and most of those people also don't have attorneys. We are tied for last place in the nation as a state in the percentage of people who have legal representation in immigration court at 14%. So I'm really proud that we fund the Denver Immigrant Legal Services Fund at about $750,000 per year. We have another round of that funding that will go out to a multitude of local legal nonprofits in September. It's supplemented by private fundraising, but I also want to be clear that we haven't come anywhere close to meeting the need, and that we can expect the need for legal representation to increase if the federal government insists on detaining people who are here to claim asylum.
You can claim asylum all you want, do it legally. If I, as a judge, receive any of those cases, I'm throwing that at them. That's like me saying I'm going to just go ahead and just, chill at somebody's house without their permission. And if I'm in Denver and I hear that, I'm straight up saying, ha ha ha, nope. You ain't using my money for that shit. Well, fuck yourself. All right. Prime Minister of Hungary, because if you look at the actual pronunciation, it's not Hungary, it's Hungary. Just revealed the following statement about George Soros and USAID. Our fears have come true. The globalist liberal Soros NGO network is fleeing from Brussels after President Trump dealt a huge blow to their activities in the U.S. Now 63 of them are asking Brussels for money under the guise of various human rights projects. Not going to happen. We will not let them find safe haven in Europe. The USAID files expose the dark practices of the global network. We will not take the bait again. It's amazing whenever you find something that, or when something is shown, people wake the fuck up and they start investigating. And then they start doing their own due diligence and research. And then they find out, oh shit, this is corruption. We're done with it. Moving on.
Multi-year payout.
Like I said just a bit ago, I know their job is stressful. I don't want anything ill to happen to anybody. This, I'm not going to play it. He straight up had a fucking stroke and he hit hard. I hope he's okay. I hope he's able to do his job in accordance with what he did. You know what? I'll play it. Like, this wasn't. I seen this and I'm like,
Each of these has several more.
Dilbert. And he has to do the correct thing.
Senator Johnson for a motion to recess. So moved. All in favor say aye. No.
Yeah, everybody's like, no, get him made. Get him made.
Where's Nick?
He's right there. He's right here.
We've got an nurse.
Good.
We've got a nurse.
And you see how fast they acted because the gentleman is elderly and he just hit hard. Like I said, I wish no ill will towards anybody who's represented in their areas. But at the same time, if that happens, you need to announce your retirement and just go live peacefully. That's saying your body cannot keep up with the stress. Simple. All right. Stacey Abrams. EPA boss Lee Zeldin says the DOJ digging into Biden administration funneling $20 billion to shady pass-throughs with basically zero oversight, including a $2 billion grant to Stacey Abrams' linked climate group. So in 2018, she was $200K in debt. 2022, 4 years later, $3.17 million on a net worth. And in 2024, yeah, kind of interesting. And this is the same bitch that didn't want to fucking concede the elections in Georgia or Alabama, one of the southern states. I'm curious how you get away with $2 billion in extortion. Just as a representative. That's kind of bad. That's kind of sad. All right, Slovakia Prime Minister Robert Fico goes nuclear on Zelensky. I'm not here to walk hand in hand with President Zelensky. I'm fed up with him. He is consistently begging and extorting others for money. This has to
Som na to, aby
stop.
som šiel po ruke prezidentovi Zelenskému. A priznám sa, že už niekedy mám plné zuby. Chodí po tej Európe, len žobre a vydiera, ostatných pýta peniaze. Jednoducho toto musí skončiť. Skúste trošku myslieť aj na túto krajinu. Nie iba na svoje úzkoprosé politické cieľe. Čo budeme robiť pre Boha, keď ten plyn nebude? Vy si myslíte, že Nemci nám pošlú plyn, keď oni budú mať málo? Nepošlú nám nič. Nič nám nepošlú. Nie som na to, aby som šiel po ruke prezidentovi Zelenskému.
Somebody who has a set of balls to actually call it out what it is. He's a fucking greedy son of a bitch. That's why I don't give a shit about Zelensky, dude. I don't. It's begging for money. Bro, you have the resources. Use them. Stop asking. Like I said, this was the only thing that I was able to actually see budget-wise. This doesn't say everything. I feel like there's hidden text in here somewhere, and I'm not able to see what the hidden text is. Like, I don't trust the budget created by Lindsey Graham at all. I don't. I just don't. He's a retired Air Force colonel that's also gaining $170,000+ annual salary. And what's his fucking net worth? $1 to $2 million. That's his net worth right now. I fucking doubt that. I'm gonna laugh if they find out that his net worth is like 20 to 30. But if it's at 1 to 2 million, that means the dude's not, taking stuff. But thing is, if you are a retired DoD personnel and you're getting that pension, you should not be getting the congressional pension as well. To me, that feels like it's double dipping. But hey, he's playing by the rules. I can't fault him for it. He's not as rich as others that are, 20, 30, 40, 200 million that we're able to see. But it's just something that I don't trust. All right, there's a very obvious reason why Adam Schiff is panicking outside the FBI building this morning. Kash Patel. Adam Schiff is the worst congressman? Or worst
someone we cannot trust. This is someone who lacks the character to do this job, someone who lacks the integrity to do this job. We know that. Our Republican colleagues know that. The only qualification Kash Patel has to be FBI director is that when everyone else in the first Trump administration said, no, I won't do that, that crosses moral, ethical, and legal lines, Kash Patel said, sign me up. In the first Trump administration, as we are seeing in the second, you rise to the level of your sycophancy, and no one is a bigger or more dangerous sycophant than Kash Patel. This political hack does not deserve to be in this building.
He's not a politician, you son of a bitch.
He can't do the job. He won't protect the public. He will misuse the resources of the Bureau. He will weaponize it against the president's political opponents rather than protecting the safety, the public safety of the American people.
I want him investigated. I want Schiff investigated for everything he's done.
Adam Schiff is the worst criminal in Congress in the last 250 years. And what broke that we're going to talk about right now is Adam Schiff met with a whistleblower. Adam Schiff went to the podium day after day after day saying, I know nothing about this. We're not going to discuss it. We're going to protect it. And then Adam Schiff, led the prosecution of the impeachment trial in the Senate of President Donald Trump. Talk about someone who was conflicted out of the game because he was part of the hoax that brought Charmella in, manufactured that false accusation, and then peddled it out to the world, and he continued, not surprising, he's lied about almost everything in his life. But now he lied just to set up a presidential impeachment. And that's what I was talking about, these disinformation campaigns. And then he should be investigated because he lied to the world about his interactions with Charmella, who is a whistleblower, and I can't stress it enough, that started a presidential impeachment. Now, your history is way better than mine, but I can't remember the last time a president was actually impeached. It's a significant process and escalation, and it's reserved for the time when it actually shows a crime, not when it shows the manufacture of fake information to show a fake crime. The guy that found and manufactured the evidence with Charmella was the prosecutor in the case against the target of the investigation. That is the ultimate, from a prosecutorial standpoint, conflict of interest. But he knew what he was doing, and he thought he would never get exposed. And I think thanks to, I think it was John Solomon and his fantastic reporting, we now see what I've been saying for years, that I thought he met with him for sure, and it will come out, and it now has.
Yep. And he is scared shitless. And he needs to be. Schiff is a danger to Congress. He's a danger to, anybody that is trying to do stuff for the betterment. He tried hard, so fucking hard to get Trump impeached. I mean, there were articles of impeachment written up, but, twice impeached, but nothing actually ever went through. It's fucking hysterical, dude. I can't wait for shit to be investigated. All right. We are not in the business of giving out money, and honestly, I don't know what $5,000 would do for you.
Giving some of this.
She also called for reparations for black people.
Savings from Doge back to Americans as kind of a dividend. Would you support that?
Listen, he's just telling a lie. He's not the one that had anything to do with the $1,200 refunds that people had during the midst of COVID that was done by a Democratic House and Democratic Senate. Right now, what they're going to do is say, hey, we want to give you a refund, but Congress won't let us, because they already know that there's just no money for that.
The billions that they've been able to find for the waste and everything else that they're saving and all the other stuff. Nice try.
Only reason that those refunds came before was because we were living in different times. This was a time in which hopefully we won't ever go through again.
You mean the timing of a lot of corruption that's been uncovered, and you're one of the ones that are crying the loudest because they found out how much you've been fucking peddling and everything else.
We had a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. The bad part is that I don't know if it's once in a lifetime, because we know that Ebola, unfortunately, was detected right here in New York here recently. And if we continue down this road of getting rid of scientists or deciding that we don't want to rely on experts as it relates to what they're telling us to do, or we don't want to deal with vaccines and medicine in this country, then we may be facing not only our next pandemic, but our next 2, 3, or 4 pandemics because of their incompetence. So no, we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
What would 5K do for you? Like right now, what would 5K do for you? I know it would do a lot for me. This is somebody who is a fucking greedy, ungrateful bitch. I don't know what 5K would do for you, because you ain't living on 5K. You ain't living on under 5K a month. You're living on a $174,000 salary. Let's just fucking take a look at this real quick. You're living on that per month. That's that much. That's that many times more. 3.2 times more than what I get. And I served my fucking country. You give me 1 year of their fucking salary, I can live comfortably. Trump called Zelensky a dictator because he is a dictator.
Trump says Volodymyr Zelensky is a dictator.
Because he's a fucking dictator. Zelensky is 100% a dictator.
I ain't got to say anything that this man's going to say.
Y'all have some special standards for Ukraine that you don't use for anyone else in the world. Let's say the American president did any of the things that Zelensky did. Say it was Biden or Trump. Say Biden or Trump nationalized all the media in the country. Like they just took over CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all of them. Those news companies were now only allowed to put out the information that the government told them to put out. Would you say that was okay, or would you say that Biden or Trump was being a dictator? Let's say that Biden or Trump shut down all opposing political parties. Like he just did not allow them to run. And he also imprisoned multiple political opponents because they didn't agree with him. Zelensky did that, but now let's say Biden or Trump did the same thing. Would you say it was okay, or would you say Biden or Trump is a dictator? And let's say that just because we were at war, Biden or Trump decided, I'm not leaving office. We're not having elections. I'm just going to stay in power till this thing is over. Would you say that was okay, or would you say Biden or Trump is a dictator? Let's be real for a second. Any world leader who does those things is a dictator. There's not some special standard for Ukraine. What Zelensky is doing violates his country's constitution. He is taking all the steps that a dictator would to remain in power. And he's using the excuse of, oh, it's because I'm at war. He's saying that they can't possibly hold elections with the war going on. But they can, have nightclubs open in Kyiv. They can have most of the citizens of the country just going on about their normal day. They can even let Zelensky travel all over the world. He can do all of that during a war, but he can't have an election. Can't have opposing political parties because of the war. Yeah, he's a fucking dictator.
And people want to argue, oh, it's because there's a war going on. 20 years. Or 4 or 5 elections. Let's say 2001 and 04 election with Bush. Bush won 08 election with Obama. Obama won. 2012 election with Obama. Obama won. 2016 election with Trump. Trump won. 2020 election with Biden. Biden won. At the war in Afghanistan ended. So Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden. Oh. Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden. So we had 5 presidential elections in the 20 years that we were at war on terror. We didn't beg. We didn't go to other countries and beg for money. We didn't go to other countries and beg for assets. We didn't, silence the political opponents. We kept the country going. And they still had elections. Yeah, Zelensky's a dictator. All right. Vince Vargas. All right. I forget what this one's about.
Trafficking community that they're
Oh, yeah.
throughout the higher level trafficking community that their leadership for their paramilitary wing are 4 former U.S. Special Forces. You've got a Green Beret a Green Beret, that's Delta Force, 2 Navy SEALs, and a Ranger from the 75th Ranger Regiment. Those are the leaders.
Oh, man. Hold on. I'm from the 75th Ranger Regiment.
Throughout the higher level trafficking community that their leadership for their paramilitary wing are 4 former U.S. Special Forces.
Oh, man. Yeah. When you have assets available, you can get away with whatever you need to. Especially human trafficking. Rand Paul. Okay. Here's another reason why I don't want any more money going to Ukraine. Why I've never given anything.
$4.8 million spent in Ukraine for social media influencers. While you're at it, but the people who vote for this, I've voted against all of this, but the members of the Senate who voted for this spent several $100,000 sending designers in Ukraine to the fashion show in Paris.
Which is why I say no more funding for Ukraine. Which is why I vehemently argued against somebody on my opinion towards Zelensky. The dude can go fuck himself.
Have the groceries have they come down yet? I don't give a fuck about grocery prices. We are exposing the corruption in this country in real time, and we're reducing government spending at the same time. Billions of dollars we are saving after we cut off funding dumb shit. And all you guys can talk about is grocery pricing. Anybody with a brain knows you can't fix the economy in a day. We all know that. Donald Trump knows that. You know that, so stop acting dumb. What about...
I ain't gotta say shit.
President Trump is...
I love this, I love it where I ain't gotta say a fucking thing. Alright, listen.
Spoken about replacing income tax with tariff revenue, especially with all this waste, fraud, and abuse that we're seeing cut. Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. And in fact, if you think about the China tariff revenue that we're estimating is coming in from the 10% that we just added, plus the de minimis.
Yes, there is an income tax in several
between
states.
$500 billion and $1 trillion over 10 years is our estimate. And that's something that is outside of the reductions that markets are seeing through the negotiations up on the Hill. And so we expect that the tariff revenue is actually going to make it much easier for Republicans to pass a bill, and that was the president's plan all along.
President Trump has spoken about...
I am all for income taxes to be going away because that cripples a lot of families, especially whenever they get their check and they're expecting to be at one level, but that income tax hits and it drops significantly. Over in California, they have that big time. State income tax, dude. Shit sucks. Texas doesn't have that. That shit sucks.
True that many of the people...
All right. This man gave a civics lesson perfectly.
It is true that many of the people in this room for 4 years failed to cover the fact that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent.
Oh, wait, no, here we go.
And was not running the country.
Now, this dude didn't give a civics lesson. I think, I know he gives a civics lesson somewhere up here.
It is also true that many people in this room who have used this talking point that Elon is not elected fail to understand
no, he does.
how
Here,
government
this one.
works. So I'm glad for the opportunity for a brief civics lesson. The president is elected by the whole American people. He's the only official in the entire government that is elected by the entire nation, right? Judges are appointed, members of Congress are elected at the district or state level, which is one man. And the Constitution, Article 2, has a clause known as the vesting clause, and it says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular. The whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president. That president then appoints staff to then impose that democratic will onto the government. The threat to democracy, indeed the existential threat to democracy, is the unelected bureaucracy of lifetime tenured civil servants who believe they answer to no one, who believe they can do whatever they want without consequence, who believe they can set their own agenda no matter what Americans vote for. So Americans vote for radical FBI reform, and FBI agents say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote for radical reform on our energy
And by the way, those FBI agents that don't want to change will indeed be fired.
policies, but EPA bureaucrats say they don't want to change.
And they will be fired.
Or Americans vote to end DEI, racist DEI policies, and lawyers at the Department of Justice say they don't want to change.
And they will be let go too.
What President Trump is doing is he is removing federal bureaucrats who are defying democracy by failing to implement his lawful orders failing to implement his lawful orders, which are the will of the whole American people.
There's your civics lesson 101. I didn't vote for Elon. I didn't vote for this. I didn't vote for this. People didn't vote for this. When people voted for Trump, myself included, we voted for the people he wanted to bring in. Because
it is true that many of the
reform needed to happen, plural, not singular. Reforms at all levels of the fucking government needed to happen.
Democratic Party.
And it just needed to happen.
I salute you. Rather than learn anything from your thrashing in the election, you've doubled down on every last insane anti-American position, and it's impressive. You've continued to call all working class MAGA folks deplorable, maggots, white supremacists, and racist. I'm talking to you, Tom Hanks.
Yep.
Your party continues to advocate for males and women's sports and spaces. You insist that we pretend that men can become women, that men can get pregnant, and you call anyone who doesn't agree with this abject stupidity a transphobe and a bigot. Now, you Dems could have backed off all these insane ideas, but even after getting rebuked in the last election, you never wavered. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't in awe of your obstinance. You promoted cancel culture, became the blind defenders of Big Pharma, even after the COVID debacle. You deny people their bodily autonomy unless it involves the right to kill another body. You became the party of big business and endless wars. You managed to turn a Kennedy into a Republican and a Cheney into a Democrat. Now that is something. You coerced our words, became the arch enemy of free speech. You cared more about illegal aliens than your own tax-paying citizens. Speaking of taxes, when we tried to understand where our tax dollars were going, you obstructed at every turn. You insisted on porn in schools while denying parental rights. You indoctrinated our children, teaching them social justice rather than reading and math. In hiring, you centered skin color and sex rather than merit and excellence. And I gotta hand it to you, hard-headed commies. You never apologized or even showed 1 ounce of remorse for any of it, even after losing the House, Senate, and the presidency. In fact, you're tripling down on all the same issues that got you to this spot. So I salute you, Democratic Party. Because of your blind hatred, moral depravity, and unwillingness to course correct, you not only lost the last election, you're on track to lose the next one too. In fact, God willing, if you keep it up, you have a real shot at becoming politically irrelevant for a generation. Now that's what I call sticking to your principles. And I, for one, just want to salute you and thank you.
The dude's handle is Brett A. Craig on Instagram. Everything he said that we've gone through here in the U.S., everything he said with the Democrats is 100% true. I've even had elected officials try telling me that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to them putting illegal immigrants first. And I'm like, do you not understand how hard I had to fight for my benefits once I got out of the military? But you'll give an illegal who's in this city more than, somebody who served their country. You'll take care of them first than that homeless vet that we just passed. Kind of like a double standard to me. You should be looking at your citizens first than those of another nation. Which is where London went wrong, where the UK went wrong, where Europe is going wrong with those that are coming illegally. That's a different topic, though. All right. No, okay, here we go. Let's listen.
I'm done. I don't care who says I sound stupid. I don't care. I am no longer a piggy bank for the United States federal government. Period. You hear me? I am no longer a piggy bank for them. I am done. I can't physically or mentally hear of another post on X or another press release in the news about how Doge has uncovered another $4.7 trillion unaccounted for. When I heard that last night, I am like, are you kidding me right now? Because I know you, out there have a story where the IRS either attached your wages, seized your assets, like where the government has done something to you.
Yeah, they have in the past. And I'll tell you straightforward, it was from something that I had no idea on. I tried fighting it, but it wound up being beyond egregious. This was under Obama's administration, by the way. The fact that they found another 4.7, so that is $9.4 trillion that's been unaccounted for. I'd like to know where the fuck the money's going. Hamas. That's just a little bit. These two. When the bodies were handed back over to Israel for burial, Palestinians and Hamas were dancing. They don't deserve to live. All of Hamas just needs to be eradicated. Back to more things. Elon Musk is proposing to give money to Americans based on what those should. Okay. Here's what he says.
Potentially giving money to Americans based on what Doge is finding. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I love it. A 20% dividend, so to speak, for the money that we're saving by going after the waste and fraud and abuse and all of the other things that are happening. I think it's a great idea.
How much money do you think?
Could be a lot. I mean, if it's 20%, we'd give back a lot of money to the taxpayer. And also it'd give an incentive for the taxpayer to go out and report things to us where we can save money.
Yeah. I'm all for it. Give us the money. Let us report on things. All right. Listen.
Against you now.
This is why people are pissed off at him. Just listen to what he has to say.
First they hated him, now they hate both of you.
Well, I think we're seeing an antibody reaction from those who are receiving the wasteful and fraudulent money.
They're being exposed.
Yes.
Nobody wants to be exposed.
I'll tell you a lesson I learned at PayPal. You know who complained the loudest, and the quickest and the loudest, and with the most amount of righteous indignation? The fraudsters. That's who complained first, loudest, and they would generally have this immense overreaction. That's how we knew they were the fraudsters.
Why this rage against you now? First they hated him, now they hate both of you.
Well, I think we're seeing an antibody reaction from those who are receiving the wasteful and fraudulent money.
They're being exposed. Yes. Nobody wants to be exposed.
I'll tell you a lesson I learned at PayPal. You know who complained the loudest, and the quickest and the loudest, and with the most amount of righteous indignation? The fraudsters.
I had to play that twice so y'all could understand.
We are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
Bitch!
not the one slow. Because you can't make me believe I didn't hear them people say they was gonna give away $25,000 to new people to get fucking houses. You can't make me believe that. That sound like giving away some fucking money, Jasmine. That sound like we're giving away shit, Jasmine Crockett. You stupid batshit motherfucker. Take the dumbass wig off, bitch. Take the wig off.
He said what every pissed off American had to say, especially whenever they heard that segment.
Well, so Stephen, we're hearing about these Doge dividend checks that would be 20% back to taxpayers, 20% to pay down the debt. 60% is left. Who gets that?
Well, the way that it works is when you achieve savings, you can either return it to taxpayers, you can return it to our debtors, or it can be cycled into next year's budget, and then it just lowers the overall baseline for next year. So in other words, you can just transfer it into the next fiscal window and then lower the overall spending level. And that means that you can achieve a permanent savings that way, and that reduces the deficit.
And when is it that people might see those checks?
Well, this is all going to be worked on through the reconciliation process with Congress that's going underway right now. As you've seen, the Senate's moving a bill, the House is moving a bill. The President has great confidence in both chambers to deliver on his priorities. I would just take this opportunity to note that President Trump has made a historic commitment to the working class of this country to fight for major tax relief and major price relief. And cutting spending, as Doge is doing, and cutting taxes is the key to delivering on both of those promises, and President Trump is resolutely committed to doing both.
Thank you. And on Ukraine, I guess this is...
And he asked a question about Ukraine, which, he like this dude cut it off, but Peter Ducey straight up, right at the get go, hey, 20% here, 20% here. Where's the other 60? And straightforward fucking answer, which is what I love seeing. I don't like seeing this, here's the question. I'm going to, say some garbled up bunch of bullshit and then say, we got to get to other people. No, fuck that. They give actual fucking answers. The adults are back in the press room. And it shows.
This is someone.
Oh, yeah. I've already covered this.
Good point. Sure, Caitlin. I have a question. I'll start with you, Kevin Hassett. Okay. Thank you for being here. And then I've got a question for Mr. Waltz. On these potential checks that you might send out from Doge, is there a concern as you're thinking through this that they could be inflationary?
Oh, absolutely not, because imagine if we don't spend government money and we give it back to people, then if they spend it all, then you're even. But they're probably going to save a lot of it, in which case you're reducing inflation. Okay, so and also, when the government spends a lot, that's what creates inflation. We learned that from Joe Biden. And so if we reduce government spending, then that reduces inflation. And if you give people money, then they're going to save a bunch of it. And when they save it, then that also reduces demand and reduces inflation.
And he's not wrong. Like I said, they cut a check and I get $5,000, it's going right into my fucking savings account. To be used only when needed. Like emergency expenditures. Aside from that, he's not wrong. Like, $36+ trillion in debt. We're finding all of this waste. We're finding the fraud and we're finding the abuse of funds. And it's sickening. Yeah, the American people deserve the money back a little.
Good morning, I'm Kevin
This was actually fucking hysterical.
Kiley. I represent California's 3rd District. California's high-speed rail disaster is the worst public infrastructure failure in U.S. history.
Damn.
Guess there are at least a few people who still support high-speed rail in California. Very few. California's high-speed rail disaster is the worst public infrastructure failure in U.S. history.
Who are you?
Good morning. I'm Kevin Kiley. I represent.
Oh, yeah. No, that is a state project that the voters voted for. And yet again, Gavin Newsom fucking mishandled the money. Doesn't know where the fuck it's at now. And now the transportation secretary is questioning where the fuck the money is at.
It's very difficult to sit there and listen to Mr. Schiff tell the tale that he just told. Let's remember how we all got here. They made false allegations about a telephone call. The President of the United States declassified that telephone call and released it to the public. How's that for transparency? When Mr. Schiff found out that there was nothing to his allegations, he focused on the second telephone call. He made false, and his colleagues made false allegations about that second telephone call that occurred before the one he had demanded. So the President of the United States declassified and released that telephone call. Still nothing. Again, complete transparency in a way that, frankly, I'm unfamiliar with any precedent of any President of the United States releasing a classified telephone call with a foreign leader. When Mr. Schiff saw that his allegations were false, and he knew it anyway, what did he do? He went to the House and he manufactured a fraudulent version of that call. He manufactured a false version of that call. He read it to the American people, and he didn't tell them it was a complete fake. Do you want to know about due process? I'll tell you about due process. Never before in the history of our country has a president been confronted with this kind of impeachment proceeding in the House. It wasn't conducted by the Judiciary Committee. Now, Mr. Nadler, when he applied for that job, told his colleagues when they took over the House that he was really good at impeachment. But what happened was the proceedings took place in a basement of the House of Representatives. The president was forbidden from attending. The president was not allowed to have a lawyer present. In every
Which, by the way, anytime you are ever having any type of talks in a legal manner, you are allowed to have your lawyer present. That on grounds alone should have been enough to throw out the fucking case.
other impeachment proceeding, the president has been given a minimal due process. Nothing here. Not even Mr. Schiff's Republican colleagues were allowed into the SCIF. Information was selectively leaked out. Witnesses were threatened. Good public servants were told that they would be held in contempt.
I am seriously waiting for whenever Cash launches that investigation on Adam Schiff and he reveals everything. Because everybody who targeted Patel, they have no idea what they just did. I hope they understand on how to actually wipe servers clean and, you know, fucking drives and everything else clean without leaving a digital fingerprint, because it's damn near impossible. It's possible, but damn near impossible.
We also have the head of Pfizer here, so I want to thank.
He knew what he was doing, calling him out. Just watch and listen.
One of the great people, one of the great businessmen. Thank you, Albert. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
He knew what he was doing. He knew that Pfizer guy was going to get booed. He did that on purpose. He had to. Little laugh. Sorry, I didn't know they were going to boo you. I didn't know you sucked that. You knew. He knows. He knew. He was speaking at the Black History Month celebration at the White House. Talking about Albert Bourla. He knows. He has to know. Nobody's on board with this shit. Nobody's on board with it anymore. RFK Jr. just came in there.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Anyway, that wasn't all. What the spread from this whole thing?
I got you.
Yeah, well, we're having pot roast, so there's that. Also welcomed Tiger Woods, the golfer, up to the stage. I didn't even know Tiger Woods was still like a thing, but I guess he's a thing. Didn't he have some controversy a while back? I don't remember. And then towards the end, he announced that the new National Garden of American Heroes will include statuses of Black American icons like Kobe Bryant, Frederick Douglass, Muhammad Ali, Rosa Parks, Jackie Robinson, going on to state that they're not doing it simply because they're Black, but also because they are truly American heroes who inspire us all very much. Overall, It seemed like the feel of the event went off without a hitch. Everybody seemed to be having a really good time. Lots of selfies were being taken. Lots of people were posting to social media. A lot of social media content creators were there celebrating.
No, he knew what he was doing whenever he announced the billionaire of the billionaire CEO of Pfizer. He knew what he was doing. He announced them, and people expressed their discontent towards him. Smart fucking play. He's playing chess, not checkers. And people are too fucking stupid to see it. All right, Carville, USAID. All right, just listen.
Democrats saying, you know what, we ought not be spending the American people's money this way. What say you?
I see you got USAID up there. They spend $41 billion. They're spending $41 billion. The federal budget is $6 trillion. I did the math, Sean. It actually comes to something like 0.014%. So take the $41 billion, put it against the $6 trillion, and see what you've done when your president is responsible for more federal debt than any president in the history of the United States. So I'll spot you to $41 billion. Now we $5,998 billion or whatever you got. Okay, I did the math on USAID. You got it right up there.
Okay, USAID
$41 billion out of $6 trillion.
But Jay,
it's not that, dude. It's the fact that they spent it on bullshit. And this is from this guy again. Like, he's taking something out of context. He's not showing the entirety of it, and I can't find the entirety of it. I had this up here for a reason. Where is it at? Here we go. All right. It's about Obama's birth certificate. This is going to fucking... follow along for a bit.
I just saw some video online that said Obama's birth certificate is fake. And it's on the whitehouse.gov. Apparently you can download it. And so I did. I'm a professional designer, guys. I'm a professional designer. If you look behind me, look 3D printers and like wave format printers, all this stuff.
Watch how he breaks this down.
I do this all the time. Like, I've done photo editings. This is insane. I am like shook at the intensity. I got to show you this. So here we go. We're on. I just type in Obama certificate. Here, I'll just type it in, enter. Here you go. Obama certificate, long form PDF. This says the White House, or the Obama White House archives.gov. This is the official .gov website, okay? This is Obama's birth certificate, supposedly. But what I'm about to show you is gonna blow your mind. Like I'm downloading it right now. We're downloading it. Let's bring it up in the files. You know, I've done this a few times now at this point because I'm like, I can't even believe this is real. So, and let's open this up in Illustrator.
Illustrator, okay?
In Illustrator. And I'm like thinking, okay, well, that's, you know, could be legit, except for, wait a second, there's bounding boxes on here. So you can delete the bounding boxes and in Illustrator, and if you delete them, you can move the entire background document off of the page.
Just to let you guys know, if it's an original document, you can't fucking do that.
And you can literally separate it, and you can see that this is the original document with the original text on it. That this has been completely photo edited, and they put this ghosting effect on here. And this is like, I can't even believe this. And even the background's been edited because this pattern just repeats like it was on the page, but it like curls around. I don't know what that's about. That's weird. But all of this is separated. These are separate window boxes. This is from the White House's website. Look, I literally just downloaded this. And look, it's like crazier than that. Look, the entire document has separation components. Like, their date stamps are two tonal different colors. Like, they can be moved separate. Like, I'm just blown away. I'm blown away at how terrible of a Photoshop job this is. There is like some...
It's absolutely insane, man. It is insane that right there is you can fabricate that. He's showing just exactly what a lot of people have been curious on for the longest time. That fucking certificate is not the real one. We want the real one. For anybody says, "Oh, he was born in Hawaii," no, the fuck he was. He was born in Kenya. His mother may have been an American, but if you were born in a state or a country, you are that country's nationality. Unless born on a military installation, you are that nationality. Simple. All right. Ed is single-handedly supplying me with months worth of memes. Donald Trump has been in office for one full month. This was February 20th, 2025. 3 days ago. From here, no one likes to see prices increase. To put that blame on Biden, though, is simply wrong, though. Yet he was in charge of that, so I'm going to put the blame on him. And all of this is from the issues that came from the Biden administration. That's right, dude. Deep state hit list. It's getting
hit
real.
List sparks midnight manhunt as FBI director goes rogue. 6 hours into his tenure, FBI Director Kash Patel deployed SWAT teams to raid the homes of 3 Pentagon officials named in his explosive deep state eradication protocol. Surveillance footage captures a 4-star general shredding documents at 2:17 a.m. before attempting to flee via private jet to Dubai.
Yeah, this 100% is not real, by the way. This is how good AI is.
This isn't cleanup. It's regime change, Patel declared during a live-streamed 3 a.m. operation targeting a CIA safe house in Virginia, where agents reportedly seized servers linked to encrypted White House communications. The list allegedly implicates officials
like the voice is 100% AI. As far as the rest of the stuff,
accused of manipulating COVID origins intelligence and sabotaging 2020 election litigation. Leaked flight logs reveal 11 D.C. staffers urgently relocating to non-extradition countries. The White House declined to confirm whether President Biden is named in the dossier, fueling speculation of high-level complicity. Breaking 9:15 p.m. ET. 2 former intelligence chiefs boarded a yacht near Malta hours before Interpol issued red notices. Is this constitutional accountability or a dangerous power grab? Sound off below.
Accountability, if anything. Because the corruption and everything else needs to go. Now, whether or not that was legit, I don't know. This is a town hall. This is one dude kind of speaking about the issues, with Democrats saying, you know, hey, I'll go up there with you. I can arrest with you. If this person was here, he'd be arrested. Let me go and fight for you as well. A lot of these people are blindly following their elected officials without actually doing their due diligence. If somebody straight up was to ask me, would you follow your elected official blindly? I'd be like, fuck no. I want to know what they're doing. I want to see all the facts. I want to see what, why they're doing the way that they're doing. the things that they're doing. I know the reason for the cuts. I know the reason for the investigations. I know the reason for Doge finding all the stuff. They're sick and tired of the fraud, waste, and abuse, and they're sick and tired of all the bullshit. Simple. Enough is enough. But blindly following somebody is not the way to go.
It's not an overstatement to say that I learned virtually nothing at Stanford Medical School.
And this is why I played the Joe Rogan thing earlier. Like the Family Guy and Joe Rogan thing.
About the tens of thousands of scientific papers that elucidate these root causes of why American health is plummeting and how environmental factors are causing it.
And why I talk to my primary care about my vitals and blood work, not general health. I'll go to specific specialists for that, like a hand surgeon, hand doctor for that, or for my shoulders or my back or mental health. But I will not talk to them about my general health.
For instance, in medical school, I did not learn that for each additional serving of ultra-processed food we eat, early mortality increases by 18%. This now makes up 67% of the foods our kids are eating. I took 0 nutrition courses in medical school. I didn't learn that 82% of independently funded studies show harm from processed food, while 93% of industry-sponsored studies reflect no harm. In medical school, I didn't learn that 95% of the people who created the recent USDA food guidelines for America had significant conflicts of interest with the food industry. I did not learn that 1 billion pounds of synthetic pesticides are being sprayed on our food every single year.
Yet farmers are raising awareness every single day.
99% of the farmland in the United States is sprayed with synthetic pesticides, many from China and Germany. And these invisible, tasteless chemicals are strongly linked to autism, ADHD.
That can't be proven yet. They say that it can be linked, but it's yet to actually have been proven between a neurological link and the actual foods that we eat.
Sex hormone disruption, thyroid disease,
the other stuff is actually has been linked.
Sperm dysfunction, Alzheimer's, dementia, birth defects, cancer, obesity, liver dysfunction, female infertility, and more.
The last part, yes, that's actually been linked. Farmers have been raising awareness of this for years. But yet people don't want to pay attention. They don't want to listen. They just want to discredit what they're saying. In the end, it's going to kill us if we don't wake up. It's why I changed how my behaviors are. Why I changed what I do. I think I played this part already.
These disinformation campaigns. He should be investigated. Adam Schiff is the worst criminal in Congress in the last 250 years. Adam Schiff went to the podium day after day after day saying, I know nothing about this. We're not going to discuss it. We're going to protect it. And then Adam Schiff, led the prosecution of the impeachment trial in the Senate of President Donald Trump. Talk about someone who was conflicted out of the game because he was part of the hoax that brought Charmella in, manufactured that false accusation, and then peddled it out to the world, and he continued, not surprising, he's lied about almost everything.
Oh, yeah. We've already played this, like the side-by-side with Schiff and him. All right. Just listen.
I have some questions about the election in Arizona. Maricopa County, they did these secret testing on the machines, which per the elections procedures manual.
Why are you walking so fast?
Well, you were supposed to oversee, do additional testing on. Did you authorize this? Ms. Hobbs? Ms. Hobbs? What about the signatures on the mail-in ballot affidavits? Are you aware of what those look like? That they look nothing like the signatures of the voters?
It's ironic that whenever officials in their position get found out for the bullshit, they run it and they hightail.
Ms. Hobbs, as Secretary of State, you oversaw elections in Maricopa County in Arizona. Are you?
Fucking rest, Jordan.
Give it an effing rest. Is that what you said? So,
you're at the gym, yet you're moving fast. You're trying to avoid. It's what every single person in any political area tries to do when they've been found out. It's, oh, they found the truth. Run. Own up to it, because this ain't gonna go away. All right, this is outrageous. These Democrats are bloody thieves, and I think their assets should be immediately frozen until a thorough investigation can be conducted. Listen.
Breaking news. President Trump calls for an investigation to find out who in the government has been receiving kickbacks from USAID. And the fine employees at Doge have stated congressional audits shows 3 Democrat senators have gained more than $20 million in net worth, each with no plausible explanation.
Ironic.
Which means that when asked, they have no idea how they got that money in their bank accounts. They said, and I quote, "Their wealth just appeared." And because of that, the files have been turned over to Pam Bondi at the Justice Department. Wealth just appeared, huh? You mean from USAID, right? So let me know what you think about this entire situation. If found guilty on taking taxpayer money to make their own pockets fatter, what kind of consequences do you think any of these people should get?
Jail time, forfeiture of assets, forfeiture of pay, jail time, repayment towards repayment of all funds back to the American people. That's just what I'd like to see.
Let's be very clear. Republicans' budget resolution doesn't just accept.
I'm not gonna sit here and play this. Apparently, it's our fault that we're in debt. Not the people that are in charge of the spending, but our fault. Just basically since 2001 and everything else, it's our fault, right? Yeah, no. President in 2000, Bill Clinton. Here's the national debt in trillions. Let's see. Bush, Obama. Oh, wait, here we go. Not too bad. And then here's 11. Almost 8 trillion. And Trump. He added 7. Then Biden. He added 8. So, math ain't mathing.
In France, there was an elderly, wealthy businessman who got out life insurance for millions of dollars. He got the COVID vaccine and he died. So the life insurance company is not paying out because they decided that the COVID vaccine is a medical experiment, and death from a medical experiment is not a covered entity. Furthermore, even the judge says that the side effects from the vaccine are well known. They've been made public. There's absolutely no way that this gentleman could not have known the side effects. He willingly chose to get the vaccine, and he died as a result. And because it was a choice, they're calling it a suicide.
Can you repeat the part of the stuff where you said all about the things?
And suicides, along with death from experimental drugs, are not covered in life insurance. So I know what you're thinking. Oh, that happened in France. That would never happen in the US. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but the American Life Insurance Council has also said that life insurance policies may deny payment if you die from the COVID-19 vaccine because they are experimental drugs. There you go. This is something we thought might happen.
And why I didn't take the vaccine.
You might want to check your policy.
Because it was a rushed experimental drug. I'm sorry. You don't fucking do that. You ask what's in it. Okay, the same video.
Ask you, I actually used the words you used for the list, which was deep state, right?
She is nervous.
That's what you put at the
It is
top.
a glossary
Against
in
the
the
Attorney
back.
General of the United States. Is it because of a personal vendetta that he's on the list? You're under oath.
I have no personal vendetta against Bill
Okay,
Barr.
he said about you, you would never be able to command the respect necessary to run the day-to-day operations of the Bureau. That was actually in writing in his book. He had
She is extremely nervous.
virtually about you, no experience that would qualify you to serve at the highest level of the world's preeminent law enforcement agency, and that your appointment, as noted by Senator Durbin as Deputy Director to the FBI, would happen over his dead body. Is it, yes or no, why you would put him on the
Would
list
happen
of
over
deep
his
state as
dead body.
former Attorney General, Trump Attorney General of the United States, because he wouldn't break the law for Donald Trump? Is that why?
Absolutely not.
As you know, he repeatedly told the president in no uncertain terms that he did not see evidence of fraud that would have affected the outcome of the election. Did you say in February of 2021 that the election stuff was never my job and I stayed out of that stuff?
Again, I don't know what comment you're referring to, but I'm sure you're reading a piece of something.
You said it on Pushback on a podcast. Is it true, though, that in December of 2020, you reached out to the Trump acting Deputy Attorney General and asked him to investigate a conspiracy theory claiming that people in Italy had used military technology and satellites to remotely tamper with voting machines in the U.S. and switch votes for Trump from Trump to Biden? Is that true?
What was the date?
That was out of December of 2020.
I was Chief of Staff to the Department of Defense, so I don't believe that's accurate in any way.
Okay, that came out of testimony before Congress. I will give it to you. Have you referred to the media as the most powerful enemy of the United States that they have ever seen? Is that right?
Again, you're reading a quote. I take that you're reading it accurately.
CPAC 223-24. You said we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens who helped Joe Biden rig the elections. We're going to come after you, whether it's criminally or civilly. Is that something you said?
That's a partial statement of what I said.
Steve Bannon's podcast. You also said you would put the entire fake news mafia press corps on your list. Is that correct? Is that what you said?
I don't have that.
Like those rapid fire things, I'd be like, I would seriously be questioning exactly what she's reading from. I would say, state exactly what you're reading before you make the statement. You're not going to do this little back and forth, little peddling BS with me. And if I'm ever called into Congress for anything that I said about anybody, I would tell them, you need the exact date, time, and quote of what I said. None of this little crap of what you want to, come up with and try to vilify me with my words. Read exactly what the thing says, where it's being said.
Elon Musk is not going after efficiency.
But yes.
He's not going after making these things better for people.
He's exposing a lot of the fraud, waste, and abuse with Doge.
He's trying to steal Medicaid so that he can enrich himself.
He's the richest man in the world. Why would he need more money?
He is trying to gut everything that is good in America.
He's trying to gut the wasteful spending. Much like figure out why politicians are worth so much.
For his own private profit.
Do you have any proof of that? Because Doge has been kind of transparent with what they've been able to find.
We have an obligation to resist kings.
And we have. We're sick and tired of the kings and queens that run the political sphere, much like yourself, that answer to no one.
We have an obligation to resist oligarchs.
And yes, we do have an obligation to resist oligarchs, which is why we didn't comply with your orders. Whenever y'all told us to isolate and fucking the whole mask mandates and everything. We didn't comply with that shit because we knew it was totalitarian whenever you try to fucking enforce that.
We will work in the streets, in the courts. We can overwhelm them.
Good luck trying to overwhelm the courts and the streets because they're just going to throw a lot of the cases out that have no merit. Also, you forget who the fucking president is because he's going to fucking eviscerate your ass.
Outnumber them. Understand our power in this moment.
So you outnumber them, but yet they have majority control. On top of that, you fail to understand that a lot of people are confused why how the fuck you're still in your seat.
Don't give up our power. Don't shy away from our power. Every small action matters.
Like voting your ass out of your position. I agree. Every small action matters.
There's not one act that is going to save all of us.
True, but the act of removing people like yourself that have such a extreme view that don't put Americans first, that do not care about your vets, and you only care about lining your pockets. You need to get your ass out.
It is going to be the constant pressure and commitment to saving our democracy. They cannot withstand.
Again, the U.S. is a constitutional republic, not democracy.
The constant, consistent pressure. They will crumble under it.
They haven't so far, and it seems to be working pretty goddamn well because you're sitting there yelling so fucking loud about it.
Every day, our job is to wake up and say, what can I do today?
What you can do is shut your mouth because you have nothing smart to say whatsoever. I asked you to actually go and try to do anything in a civics manner and show what they're doing is wrong. You wouldn't be able to do it.
And so when they try to come in, make them show a document.
Doge has been showing you the documentation of everything. On top of with the illegals that are being housed in your city and everything, if you say get a warrant, they have a warrant ready. Pretty fucking simple.
Make them assert their authority. Ask them, who are you?
Yeah, who are you? I seriously want to know. Because whenever I heard you got elected and you were a bartender, I'm like, who the fuck is this bitch? I've yet to see anything worthwhile since while you've been in office that has actually where your constituents have benefited from, let alone the American people. So I don't know.
Who are you? Because at the end of the day, they're no one. And he thinks he's got a
How many people did you have to pay for this little stint? Because I'm pretty sure that's an act.
bank account with a lot of zeros in it, that it makes him some kind of super citizen. I don't think so. This is America.
But you already sold out at a discount. Damn. All right. I seriously wish you would just leave.
People are just idiots. I really, I'm at the, these people are just idiots. I really, I'm at the point where it's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people because the level of stupidity that they are displaying every single day is frankly embarrassing, not just in Congress, but as Americans, and the fact that these people are allowed to say just the most ridiculous things tells you that the dumbing of the United States has arrived, because how else do we get a Trump presidency again?
I don't know. Popular vote, the electoral college vote, the majority vote. People were sick and tired of the failed policies from the Biden administration. They did not want somebody who was a corrupt VA from California to be president, somebody who cackles and laughs at every single serious issue, someone who doesn't respect the armed forces in any way, shape, or form. I never would want her in charge of the troops whatsoever. It's not the fact that she's a woman, it's the fact that she's incompetent at every fucking level that she's been in. On you, though, you're an illegal from Somalia that married your brother for a citizenship passport. We have everything that's already been made known. And you remember whenever you were speaking in public and you said some people did something during 9/11? Yeah, that didn't leave a good taste in our mouths either. I'm still pissed off about that day. I hope your ass gets voted out and your ass gets deported because you need to go back to Somalia where you came from. And then you can represent your people correctly. And if you try selling secrets or telling secrets to the government, you'll be called back for treason.
They're being forced.
All right, this dude gets absolutely slammed by Crenshaw. Just listen.
Dragged in there and used as cannon fodder, or they're fleeing and risking their lives to do it. The reality is Russia is winning the war or has won the war. And you can say, oh, you must be a Kremlin agent to say that.
You know, you just got to know nothing about military information or tactics. That's what you have to do to say that. You just have to know nothing.
So the idea that
is clearly what you do.
Yeah, well.
I mean, you got so many facts wrong. It's hard to know where to even start.
You can. You think Ukraine is winning the war? In which direction is the front line moved? Has it moved westward or eastward?
It depends on where you're looking at. It depends on where you're looking at. I hate to break it to you, but it depends on where you're looking at. And the ratios of Russian deaths to Ukrainian deaths is like 4-1. You just don't know what you're talking about. You've never fought anything.
You have
don't
no
know
idea
anything
what
about the
you're talking
military.
about. I fought a lot of things. I fought a lot of things.
Oh, you fought a lot of things?
Just because you were in the military, they're being.
I've fought a lot of things. Yeah, right, dude. The only thing you know how to fight is a cold. Please. I'm pretty sure you'd piss your pants if somebody kicked your door in because it was locked. You wouldn't know what to do. You're too fucking much of a soy boy to do anything worthwhile. Get the fuck out of here. Crenshaw, who's a Navy SEAL, who's actually lost his fucking eye and deployed twice more, knows what the fuck he's talking about. Okay. The Save Act. They're trying to suppress a married woman's right to vote via HR 22. I have HR 22. Here's the text. Birth certificate. A valid government-issued photo identification card issued by a federal, state, or tribal government other than an identification described in paragraphs 1 through 4, but only if presented together with one or more of the following. A certified birth certificate issued by a state, a unit of local government in a state or tribal government, which one was issued by the state, unit of local government, or tribal government in which the applicant was born. 2 was filed with the office responsible for keeping vital records in the state. 3 includes the full name, date of birth, and place of birth of the applicant. 4 lists the full names of one or both of the parents of the applicant. 5 has the signature of an individual who is authorized to sign birth certificates on behalf of the state, unit, or local government or tribal government the applicant was born. Now, does not go where it was, where they say married. Doesn't state where it was married. However, if you have your birth certificate and your marriage certificate through here, you're good to go. I don't need to play that clip. It's like 5 fucking minutes long. What this right here is basically getting rid of a voter fraud. Spouse, wife, husband, child, children, nothing. Even maiden name. Male voter, mail, like you're mailing something. Yeah, this is just for the voter registration to get rid of electronics. This has no merit on anything within there. This does not suppress a married woman's right. I'm sorry. HR 22 does not. You can sit there and search birth certificate all fucking day long. If you present the birth certificate of what your maiden name was with the actual marriage certificate changing your maiden name to what your new name is. And by the way, I'm almost certain that you get a documentation showing what your maiden name to your married name is, plus your voter ID or your ID, your state issued government ID. You're pretty much good to go. Ain't it easy? Salaries. Oh, what a day it is to be a politician. They're worth more money than I'll ever see in my entire fucking life. That is disgusting.
I'm gonna have Alyssa on.
All right, Hassan crashes out on chat after they kept asking to bring Alyssa Mercante on stream. Just listen.
On stream right now. I hate when people literally fucking come in.
By the way, we're moving to the streamer and streaming platforms and gaming side of the fucking thing. Now that I have a little bit more.
In the chat, you goddamn simps. Okay? I hate when I'm like doing something and you fucking simps literally go, hey, can you have Alyssa on the stream right now? It is one of the most annoying things that you guys do. Okay? Shut
They do it because it gets under your skin, you fucking moron.
the fuck up. Oh my God.
Look at his chat, dude.
No, I've never asked for it. There has never been a moment where I've asked for this. I've never asked for your feedback. Okay?
You're a lazy piece of shit that's never really done anything worthwhile, and you know I'm right on that one.
Shut up, chatter. I have not asked for your feedback. Please, stop fucking backseating the stream. Oh my God.
They're not backseating the stream. I'm sorry, but you're out of touch with that.
It's so annoying.
Then stop acknowledging it.
Yeah, it is not just this. It's because you guys do this every day. You do it literally every fucking day. You do it.
You can put bad words and block messages on there, homie.
For everything. You're like, hey, you want to watch this fucking video? Guess what? Fuck you. I want you to watch this 8-hour theory video on developmentary Maoist Leninism, Marxist Leninist Maoism. We need to watch Maoist third worldism right now. Watch this video about the Khmer Rouge and about how Pol Pot was misunderstood. Stop it. You guys have been doing it all fucking day.
Then you end the stream, you go fucking cool off, and you put that shit as a fucking banned word, dude. You've been doing this longer than I have, and I just gave you a fucking solution, you fucking dunce. God, you're stupid. Oh, before anybody's like, well, he's partnered, you're not. Yeah, because he leveraged his fucking platform from being on the Young Turks. Please. Don't sit there and try saying that shit.
God damn.
He's a shitty creator to begin
It's
with.
my boiling point. I'm sorry. And this has nothing to do with Alyssa as well.
Oh, my boiling point, man. Cry me a river, bitch. I posted this on the 17th. I have yet to see them fucking follow or subscribe. They have not. And I did that for a reason. I bring this up here because that is not how you grow. I said, I think you won't prove me wrong. They have yet to fucking do this. Like, seriously, damn it. Bro, they have yet to fucking do that. If you ever see anybody do this, call them out on it. Post your link. A couple reasons. One, More people that see that, the more that they'll see your link. 2, call them out on the bullshit. Saying, I don't think you will. And 3, if they do, say I was wrong. If they don't, say I was right. I'm going to come back to this like, hey, you know what? Hey, hold on. Let's see. This was on the 17th. I'm subbing and following all day. It's almost been a week. You still haven't. I'm calling out the bullshit and they blocked me. Cool. I don't care. All right. Joker called them out on this. The public API is shit from what I'm reading, but I'm hoping I'm wrong. Only useful if others authorized with your app that you have to set up. If they don't, you're not able to collect any useful data on those channels? Question mark. We'll confirm tonight. Developers.kick.com. Wait. Oh, I misspelled that. Hold on. Let's see. Developers.kick.com. That ain't loading. Oh, there we go. Interesting. Alright, this guy came into my chat and attempted to riz me up, which I guess riz is short term for charisma. But got banned pretty quickly. I found out later he was live during the whole thing, and when I looked at his VOD, I found this. Let him out. His mic is atrocious, by the way.
Rivals. Why are there so many weird people in the Rivals community?
I'm not. This is Riz. It's not Riz. It's creepy. Very, very fucking creepy.
What's the opposite of Riz?
And he acts like that? How is he gonna act if an actual woman rejects him? Like, seriously. Alright, update. Chris Barrett's legal team issued a statement in response to Sony's claims. Sony continues to disingenuously cherry-pick text messages and alleged conversations and make unsupported and conclusory statements to defame Christopher and justify terminating him to avoid paying him what he was owed under his employment agreement. It is telling that Sony does not include the full text messages as exhibits or the full content of these conversations, and nothing in Sony's response provides a legitimate legal or factual basis to terminate Christopher for cause. Christopher is confident that when all the evidence is presented, it will be clear that Sony engaged in a scheme to strip him of his role and the equity awards he earned for his 25 years of loyal service to the company. Sony has responded to former Bungie director Christopher Barrett's $200 million lawsuit, revealing text messages and workplace misconduct allegations led to his firing. Yeah, I doubt that. Sony just doesn't want to pay out because they're fucking greedy. By the way, this is what it showed. All right? This is what their fucking updated shit showed. Now, their terms and conditions, if I go to here, you can see down at the bottom, it says kick. They've gone and fixed their mistake. I brought both these up for a reason. Any and all hyperlinks or URLs that are underlined, it will actually show the correct area as to where it needs to go to. This is, in essence, their fucking TOS. And here's the arbitration clause right here, which people need to leverage against them. All right. Twitch's path to partner documentation has changed to remove Rage from the excluded list. As such, they average 75 viewers before and after. This is before exclude range. All calculations exclude range promotion. All calculations exclude front page promotions and embeds. The only thing it doesn't do now is it doesn't have raids. Raids are included.
One was
oh, Destiny, another piece of shit.
The third issue was that the Substack that Andrea wrote was so unbelievably unhinged that the only possible way I would have agreed to settle.
By the way, Pixie is, I believe, I assume that's who this is. I literally don't know. But
I brought this up for a reason. If you're going through court proceedings and they tell you you are bound not to mention one party, you are bound not to mention one party. You're bound not to mention their fucking names for a reason. For that, they now have a bigger lawsuit against them. Yeah, this one is pretty bad.
Bro, let's go the other one.
What?
We can raise the kids.
Huh?
We can raise the Japanese kids.
He's talking about Risen or trying to hit on the Japanese children. Fact that he's not arrested and the fact that he's not banned off the platform is disgusting. This is one of the sole reasons why you will not ever see my brand or my name, and I need to double check making sure that it's not on there ever on that platform. When I rebrand, I am not making a kick. I'm not making a kick account. This video was uncomfortable to watch. And he has he has fucking Ice Poseidon. He has a couple other bigger creators there that know that he's doing this wrong, and they're not stopping him. And it's absolute bullshit. Dr. Desperate. By the way, Guy Beam is his other account. Although things have been settled, Twitch should do the right thing and correct their mistake of permanently banning the doc by reinstating the channel. No, the fuck they shouldn't. We should have never been banned in the first place. Twitch should have never allowed a low-level employee to override the entire ban system, which had already determined we didn't do anything wrong because of biased opinions of the doc character. When you message a 17 who's not 18 years old, that is actually messaging a minor, especially for explicit materials. Thus, you are messaging a minor in an explicit manner and subsequently banned off the platform. That's right. They could have reached out and I had a quick 5-minute call and realized the mutual jokes and bantering never had serious intent. That's not the that's not how it looked in the eyes of the parents. Let's try. As
You
we go.
kicked that OTK, didn't you? Yeah, I'm not involved with OTK at all. Pretty much. Yeah. Nope. Done. I haven't been for a while, and
Kicked that OTK. No, he left. Simple. He left. He left OTK because bunch of other bullshit. He don't want to deal with the stresses and everything else. So aside from that, yeah. Much longer than anticipated than I wanted to go. I appreciate it. You know, people who've been lurking out and hanging around. And yeah, Monday through Saturday. Twitch, SharePlay, Beam, Party, and Noise. I've stopped with Trovo because I don't think that platform is going to be around for too much longer. So, after that, I'll take care. I will see you on the next one. And I'm hoping that I can actually get it condensed down in less than an hour. So, we'll see what I find. We'll see what I can actually articulate my opinions on.